Here's us. Suckers! Good evening, brothers and sisters of the Leaf. Coming to you live from Trax Record Store, it's the Tuesday Night Cigar Club. Tonight the boys travel back to the totally awesome 80s, 1986 to be exact, as they dive into the classic John Hughes teenage romantic tragedy, Pretty in Pink. In keeping with this evening's theme of love, our crew of teen beat-worthy heartthrobs will be smoking the phenomenal Rose of Sharon cigar from Southern Draw, while seductively sipping pint after pint of Victory Brewing Company's Summer Love Golden Ale. Sounds like our adorable crew of Tuesday Night Dreamboats is going to have more fun tonight than Ducky when it's all-you-can-drink juice box day at the Asylum for the Criminally Insane. Seriously, folks, watch the movie again and tell me that little twerp isn't a homicidal psychopath in the making. A ticking time bomb who wears cute little hats is still a ticking time bomb, I tells ya. But anyway, we're here to have fun, and all our restraining orders have expired, so sit back, light 'em up, and enjoy the show.
Look at those bubbles, boys. Look at those bubbles. Man, life can be tough, can't it? Last weekend, I was burnt out. Stress of the show, finishing up the short film we've been working on, family, chicks, everything. I was just like, I need to blow off some steam. Threw the surfboard in the back of the Porsche, drove down to Baja for the weekend, 3 days. Oh, dude, boys, the waves were killer.
Just stop it.
It was
just stop right there.
What? Listen, I know you're thinking, last time I went to Baja, I got accused of cheating on my SATs in high school. I was out of town visiting my dad in prison, and I took him out of town, and they threw up a red flag. So I was like, fuck this. I'm out of here. So went down to Baja, my little safe space, if you will. What? What is with you guys? I recommend it. The break of the waves, it's killer, man. It's killer.
Stop it. That's clearly the life of Dylan McKay from Beverly Hills 90210.
This is my life. Will you at least admit I had some killer sideburns in high school?
No, you never had sideburns.
It's in about you, Brandon. It's in about you. Your mom has sideburns.
Well, I mean, drag her into this.
I've been watching a lot of 90210 reruns, and I drink a lot. Things get hazy. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday Night Cigar Club podcast.
His personality is clearly split.
Episode 52. If it even matters. I don't know what matters anymore.
If you're doing the whole show as McKay, I'm out of here.
No, I'm not doing it. Welcome, everybody.
Oh, my God.
I am burnt out, though, and drinking a lot. So that was truth.
That part I believe.
Well, of course.
Down to Baja was you just, walking to your backyard.
Yeah, I don't have the gumption to go anywhere. I did. No, I never did that either. Boys, episode 52. It is good to be back home in the corner of No Hope.
Oh, feels good to be back on
Feels like
home
it's
turf.
been an eternity. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We've tried to keep some episodes coming, but we did take a break in May. We went down to Cats Fest as we do every year, and did a bunch of interviews, which you can find on our YouTube page and our website. Talked to a bunch of new faces, new cigar celebrities, and some just celebrities. Mr. Shorty Rossi, Pit Boss fame on the Animal Planet. It was a good trip, but boy, I think it kicked our asses. It was so hot. Dog.
That heat was not. There was no joke. There was no joke. Man.
It was brutal. Woo. It was so brutal. Go to our website or go to our Instagram. You see some pics of. They had us out in this little church gazebo.
It was a beautiful spot.
Beautiful spot.
Really
and
beautiful
the interviews
spot.
look great, but this little church gazebo somehow harnessed all the heat of everywhere else in the festival and just cooked us like a crock pot. You really missed something special, Doc.
How many gazebos do you she-males need?
Speaking of Doc, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back. Great to be back.
I'm thinking last time we saw you, we were over at the pub doing
The
our
pub.
big
That's right.
50th episode.
Yes.
Which,
Roadhouse.
Roadhouse. I don't remember anything about that episode, but I'm sure it was fine.
I remember being present at it.
You were. I remember you being there. But no, we have. I mentioned earlier. We did finish that. We've been mentioning this short film we've been working on to kind of get the name out there, the Tuesday Night Cigar Club name out there a little bit more in front of some people who maybe don't know about us. And we finally finished that. So we that took a monumental Herculean effort to get that across the finish line. Our boy Fritz, who you're hearing right now, he got us a killer score for it. We had finished editing it, so our plan was to initially just throw it out there on YouTube and whatnot, but it turned out somehow like really, really good. So we're submitting it to a couple film festivals before we put it out there.
And
on
it
the
sucks
internet.
because they won't let us.
They won't let us share it first, so we're gonna give that a go for the next few months, see what happens. Mainly local Texas stuff. Be nice to see it on the big screen and get drunk with all our friends and family. And
So just going to be the four of us.
it'll
there
be
in
the
theater.
four of us at the theater. Maybe it's an ill-conceived plan, but either way, you should be able to see it soon. I'm proud of it. It turned out really, really good.
It did. It
It's
turned
an
out
ill-conceived
awesome.
plan, a redundancy as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, I guess it really doesn't need to be said anymore, huh? Mincy, some things that need to be said need to be said.
I really fear that this is not the
I'm
only impersonation we're going to see this evening.
I'm going to stop. I thought about drawing on sideburns, but I won't do that. I just got to quit watching that show.
It is addictive.
It is. The old ones bring back a lot of memories. But anyway, so Cats Fest was a success. Short film was a success. But we're ready to rock out through the rest of the year with regular shows. Doing what we do best and are most comfortable doing, which is sitting on our asses in the corner, no hope, drinking beers, smoking cigars, and talking about movies. We're the only ones out there doing it, boys.
Hey, you know what? If you're going to go buy something on Amazon, you should go to our website first. Click on the Amazon link, and then make your purchase. We get a little percentage of it, and it helps us to pay the bills.
So usually he says that at the end of the show when no one's still around to listen. Good thinking.
I've been taking a couple marketing classes. I haven't got to the part where they say, don't get snockered, when you're doing this stuff.
And don't insult 80% of your audience
Yeah.
with slurs and offensive remarks. Next semester. Well, in typical Tuesday night fashion, we do have a double feature, a sad double feature of the Boot of Remembrance tonight.
Yeah.
But we forgot to get the Boot of Remembrance, so how about we take a quick pause? And we're back. Not even 5 minutes into the show, we had to slam on the brakes.
That's a record.
Wish I had slammed on the brakes when I was going down to Baja with my girlfriend Brenda. We forgot her passport, and her dad, Jim Walsh, a real ball buster, had to come down, and that was the beginning of the end, my
The
friends.
problem is that our blood alcohol content is dangerously low.
Yeah, let me drink more, and I'll stop doing
Let's
that.
get, let's get
The end of the night, when you pull that back out, we're all going to be going,
Yeah, that's fucking wrong.
give us more McKay, man.
The Boot of Remembrance is out. If I can get some silence in the room, please. Actually, a lot of people have died since we did this, but we're gonna
Dropping like flies.
We're going to talk about... oh, God! All right, we're going to talk about 3 people tonight. Let's start off with the doc. Well, you worked hard on your... We'll do doc.
I'm okay. All right.
Let's first... Should we do this in order of death, maybe? Powers Booth
Yes.
is a character actor. If you're not familiar with the name and you're listening or watching, just IMDb him real quick. You'll know him instantly. He is one of my favorite all-time character actors. He's one of those guys like Bill Paxton. Very different style of acting and very different personality, obviously. But he's like Bill Paxton when we did the boot for him. He's one of those guys that when he would pop up in anything, it could be the shittiest movie you've watched in a long time, but you see that face pop up and you're like, all right, it's going to have one redeeming value. It's going to have Powers Booth in it. And he just never disappointed. I asked the doctor to kind of give us a little bit of...
Yeah, he's a fellow Texan from out in West Texas. I believe from the town of Snyder, Texas is where he was from. You can definitely tell he doesn't have like a... I wouldn't call it like a distinctive twang, but definitely a distinctive Texas accent.
It's got a drawl.
really,
A little bit of a drawl.
it's a little bit, but it's definitely not.
It's not like a Tommy Lee Jones
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, it's a great point, Cade. He there was always something very distinctive about his look. The baritone voice that he had,
great voice,
just the eyes, yeah, it really did. Like the first thing that in chronological order that I would have remembered him from would have been the Colonel in Red Dawn.
Yeah.
Prior to that, however, if you can track it down, I'm trying to find it myself. I don't know how hard it is to track down, but he apparently really put himself on the map by playing Jim Jones in a movie about the Jonestown Massacre. That's really what put him on the map. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. I heard that's like really was like his kind of star maker thing.
He was really accurate.
Okay.
I was driving down the road right around the time of Powers Booth's death. It was weird. It was like 2 weeks before, and it was also like the anniversary of Jonestown.
Yeah.
And NPR was playing the last sermon that was called when it was calling people to come, drink the Kool-Aid. And yeah, it was eerie.
You can see it. You can see in the look of the young Powers Booth that it would have kind of resembled Jim Jones. But again, Red Dawn. It was in the Emerald Forest, a John Boorman flick. Ton of stuff.
Yeah, he's great. That was my first exposure to him. Was the dad in Emerald Forest.
Yeah.
And then
I think one thing for us, and it's funny because we mentioned this before. Well, Curly Bill, obviously from Tombstone.
Yeah.
It's funny because Cade wrote a very excellent article about your distaste for the Academy Awards, and you had discussed Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday, and we're all unabashed fans of the Kurt Russell fan club here. So I think Tombstone, it just seems like it doesn't really get its due outside of people from our generation, but a lot of people in it, really great ensemble film, but Powers Booth was just fantastic as Curly Bill, the leader of the Cowboys.
Who it was the casting director or George P. Cosmatos, the director, whoever decided to team Powers Booth with Michael Biehn up, two of those guys.
That's just a winning combo right there.
You're not going to lose, yeah.
And in recent years, a lot of people would remember Powers Booth from Sin City.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of the HBO show Deadwood.
Yes.
A lot of people, when they talk about Deadwood, the first thing they think of is they were going to mention Ian McShane or Timothy Oliphant, but Powers Booth as Cy Tolliver, the other brothel and saloon owner and all-around power broker in town. Yeah, he's great. He's fantastic, and he really just, as you mentioned, he just has that kind of presence about him.
He does.
It can be kind of an authorial figure, but it's just the way he projects, the voice, the eyes, everything that he does.
He's a guy that could have blended in and been one of those guys that was in so many movies, but you never knew his name. But he had that glint in his eye, and he made those little subtle moves in every movie. That's why we knew Powers Booth. And I was happy to see him get some mentions, by some other people he'd worked with and things. But he is definitely an unsung
absolutely
talent. So
and at 68, gone too early.
Well, that's why that's what we do. We pay tribute to those guys who meant something to us. So
it's funny you talked about he could be in like a really crappy project, but as long as he's there, it's going to be all right. He's in the TV series Nashville, which is like this modern day Nashville music scene. He plays like the corrupt businessman. And I started watching this thing with my wife, and I'm like, this is horrible. And then all of a sudden I hear, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, it's Powers Booth. All right. I'll watch it. I'll watch this.
Yeah, it's very similar. I was telling you guys before the show, I've just started digging into the show Flash, the superhero show on Netflix, and Michael Ironside popped up, another one of those guys from the 80s, Total Recall, V. Another one of those guys that just has that unique look and always just kind of brings a glint in his eye and a
yeah, they're really kind of.
I'm here to play.
Also a great voice too.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Ironside's voice.
Yeah.
I didn't see him. I heard him first. I was like, oh shit.
Burnished by cigarettes.
Here he comes. Here he comes.
Yeah, they're real similar. They're real similar.
Those guys always kind of remind me of each other.
I was actually for a couple of days. I was a little bit down.
Yeah, well, it's like
down.
Paxton. You're never going to see him again. It sucks. So we filled up a little bit of
not where we're going in the afterlife anyway.
Well, no, we'll never see him again. And
won't see my grandma again. A lot of people I'm not going to see.
And this next guy needs no introduction. You certainly won't have to go to IMDb to paint a picture of this man. Who else died, Yax? I don't have the heart to say it.
Roger Moore. Sir Roger Moore.
The
Da 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 Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, great. Now Albert R. Broccoli's going to sue us for using the music. My favorite James Bond. To me, when I close my eyes and think of James Bond, it's Roger Moore.
Me too, absolutely.
I think it's because we're the age where he was the Bond we grew up with.
The Bond, yeah.
Greatest Connery was, it's Roger Moore.
He's the Bond we saw on the big screen. You know, when my grandma took me to my first Bond movie, it was Roger Moore. It was Moonraker. I was a little shit, and I'd never seen anything like it. Sure, you know Jaws and the space setups and whatever, but man, Moore had a presence to him. He had a smarm and a charm and a sense of humor to him. But he also just had an interesting quote I read one time where he was like, I have three acting techniques. I can raise my right eyebrow, I can raise my left eyebrow, and I can raise both eyebrows. He's like, that's all I can do, but it's got me, I'm doing okay. And it's like, he wasn't a man of many transitions in the cigar lingo. He wasn't a complex actor per se, but he was a very unique screen presence. And I can't imagine Bond without Roger Moore.
Yeah, you know, you think about it. I don't know what it was about the guy that was just lovable. I mean,
he was tailor-made for Bond.
He really was.
In the 70s and early 80s.
Without jumping ahead here, I asked Yak Boy to prepare a little something. You got something for us?
Yes. Moore, actually, he got into acting in 1945.
So we would have been... Oh, wait, no, sorry.
No,
my grandfather was flying B-17s.
It was not one of the things that he had ever actually even thought about. He actually ended up first being apprenticing at an animation studio, but he just didn't...
As an animator?
Yeah, but he really didn't have the talent for it. He messed up some things and got fired, and then...
He was just too good looking to be an animator.
Well, and then after that, he ended up actually talking to a guy, and he got on as a extra in a film called Caesar and Cleopatra in 1945, and it just kind of went from there. And slowly, I mean, he just worked his way through various British TV shows, movies, and eventually, I mean, he got to know and was offered to attend the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, which is one of the Britain's...
their Juilliard, if you will.
Yes, and he did that, and I mean, most people, most British actors, they end up going and actually getting like a degree or studying
at a theater company,
right? Versus American actors that just kind of hope they get picked up.
See, that's weird because I never knew that. Because I mean, if you're like at the Royal Company, which is like their Juilliard, yet for most of his career, he wasn't really considered as an actor with great dramatic chops.
No, but once again, it's kind of the thing. If you don't go through it, it's kind of like saying if you don't get the degree, you're not an actor.
Okay,
you'll just forever be that extra in the background.
Yeah, it's such a different culture there than we embrace the doofus who like gets discovered in a Wendy's commercial.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden he's in every movie. It's like, hey, that's a success story. Like these guys toil in the theater doing Shakespeare for like 20 years before they even get on the big screen. And
now, kind of a funny thing is he was
You're right, their way is stupid.
When he was going
idiots
at the academy, he actually was classmates with Lois Maxwell.
Who's that?
Who went to become the original Miss Moneypenny.
Oh.
So,
small world.
Yeah.
There's Miss Moneypenny. Oh, wait.
That's
the wrong guy.
But now, I mean, he originally... someone had mentioned, about the possibility of taking on the James Bond thing, but Connery was still doing it, and he's like, no one, they wouldn't consider me, for whatever reason, and he just, never thought about it. But then after, Connery came out and said, I'm not going to do it again, I'm done with this, he still didn't think like, because, I mean, he put his, hat.
Yeah, it was kind of like
his name in the hat, so to speak.
Why not?
It was like, they won't ever look at me for it.
Yeah.
But then, Lazenby did it, and if you kind of look at him and Lazenby, they're similar.
There's some
similarities, similarities. So, but then they were like, well, we need someone who's really going to be able to carry this.
It's got the charm.
Lazenby was kind of a nice transition. He was kind of had some Connery, the dark, the darker hair, the more chiseled features.
If you look at the film by itself, Majesty's Secret Service is really a good story.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. But I couldn't get attached to his.
There was
his
not
Bond.
that magnetism there.
No, there wasn't.
Yeah. So I mean, but then after that, and then of course Connery came back.
Never Say Never Again.
No,
You only die twice.
No, Diamonds Are Forever.
We're just all
that
over
was
the
it,
place.
and because he was like, well, if Connery's coming back, why am I?
Okay, Connery would come back after Moore
Yeah.
and do Never Say Never Again.
Right.
When the producers were having it was going
Right.
back and forth.
So
How many films did Moore do as Bond?
he did 7.
I was about to say
It's
7,
the same
yeah.
amount that Connery did, but the difference being is that Moore did it all. He did about 12 years total, so he was the longest
Yeah.
Bond continuously.
Okay.
So it was, he started in 73 with Live and Let Die,
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Live and let die.
and then he finished up
Actually
with
my favorite
View to a
Bond.
Kill in 80.
Yeah, View to
It's
Kill
not the
was
best
the
one,
last,
but it's my
and
favorite.
dude, that's a guilty pleasure for me. It was
Oh.
definitely the silliest Bond film. I mean, Christopher Walken,
Well, I really think he began and ended with like the
the
silliest Bond films.
correct?
Because
Because
like
exploitation Bond, and then just total goofball.
right.
Yeah.
So it's like the worst death ever, Live and Let Die. He stuffs that thing and the dude turns into a balloon. Like
He always was full of hot air. No, that wasn't it. It was he always did have an inflated opinion of himself.
But the other distinction that really took me here was I didn't realize it because I guess it didn't even occur to me. He was the oldest
Yeah.
Bond. When he first took Live and Let Die, he was 45.
Yeah.
Mm.
Looking a little too old to be doing those karate,
Karate
chops. Which I
But-
gotta say, he
No,
had
but you
some
get-
of the
but
best
now here's the
karate
thing,
chops
but you
in the
get to,
business.
Live and Let Die, he was almost 57,
Or View
58.
to, View to Kill.
Yeah.
View to
View to
Kill,
Kill,
Yeah, he's pushing 60.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
that's the one.
He's
where,
up on top
yeah,
of the Golden Gate Bridge.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Trading punches with Christopher Walken. He's banging Tanya Roberts.
Yeah, that'll
But by then it was almost, and I'm glad enough was enough. I love View to Kill, but he was at that point becoming kind of a caricature of the Lothario Bond. It was everything he said was a sexual innuendo
Yeah, yeah.
and a one-liner.
Right.
And because it was the 80s, it was action movies. Everybody's doing one-liners.
They also had to name the movie in it. There's one like where Walken's they're on the Zeppelin, which is what of you, and he goes to a kill.
View to a Kill.
Like, what?
That doesn't make any sense. No one would ever say
There it
that.
is. He said it.
He said it.
He said it.
Also, one of the more underrated theme songs, I think. I like that Duran Duran View to a Kill
Yeah,
song.
actually, it was all right.
Um,
Not as good as Live and Let Die.
but, obviously, when you take the Bond mantle, no matter what else you do, you're going to always be James Bond.
Correct.
Daniel Craig now's doing the Connery of, I'm done. Like, you were nobody before James Bond. You do, 3 movies, and now it's just too much. I can't take it. They want to give me $30 million a picture, and everyone knows who I am now.
And
And
that sucks because I
Laid
actually
by women half my age. I just don't want to do this anymore.
but it's a tough one for me because he
I love
always
Daniel Craig. I think he's great.
he always looks like he's 47. I mean, I don't know how old he is.
I have no idea.
He could be like he's starting to get on that older side of Bond to where it starts to get a little unbelievable. But I like Daniel Craig. I think if this is controversial, I put him as my second. He's got to be in the top 2. Now, who that number 1 is, I don't really know.
Well, for me, and I need to get another beer so I can pour a little bit into the boot. It's always going to be Roger Moore.
Same here.
Live and let die.
And you're right. He did have that one karate chop.
Oh man, his karate
His
chop
signature karate chop on
is
the back
like
of the thing.
as good as Captain Kirk's, who had like the smoothest judo chop out there. I would say Captain Kirk and Roger Moore's James Bond are tied. It's a good chop. It puts the enemies in their place with just that one chop to the side of the neck.
Anything else we're forgetting? Anything else worth mentioning? Obviously, the guy had a huge career.
Family. No. You told me a story about
I want a karate chop.
the kid. About the kid meeting him and then getting the autograph.
Real quick. There was a really great story.
I love this story, man.
After he died, a guy who is a producer, or now he's in Hollywood, wrote a story. He was a kid. He was in an airport with his grandfather, and he saw Roger Moore waiting for a plane. This would be back in the 70s, I guess.
Yeah.
And told his grandpa, that's James Bond. His grandpa was like waiting for him to put him on a plane. Didn't know who James Bond was. I think they were in the South somewhere. And he's like, that's James Bond. Can I get his autograph? Can I get his autograph? And the grandpa was like, so he took him over to Roger Moore. And he's like, my grandson says you're James somebody. And he's like, would you sign his airplane ticket? And he's like, sure. And I'm not going to do a Roger Moore voice.
That was really leaning towards the Scottish or something.
So he signed.
I'd be a big order.
I'd be happy to sign it.
I'm signing your air ticket.
He signed his airline ticket and gave it back, and they walked. He's like, nice to meet you. Very, very polite. Walks away, and the kid looks at the ticket, and it's signed Roger Moore. And he's like, Grandpa. He's like, he didn't sign the right name. This isn't his name. He's James Bond. This little kid. Grandpa's like, takes him back over to Roger Moore, and it was like, my grandson says you're actually this James somebody. You signed the wrong name. Like, what's going on? Like, cantankerous old guy or whatever. And Roger Moore called the little kid over, and he's like, I can't actually sign my. Can you hear me in the mic?
Sure.
He's like, I can't actually sign my real name because Spectre or what's
Smersh?
No, what's the
Blofeld.
Blofeld's people could be here any minute, and they can't know of my whereabouts. And he gave him a wink. And so the kid left, right? Skip ahead to like early 2000s. He's at an award show, this guy. He's like a producer or something now. And he sees Roger Moore backstage having a cigarette, waiting to go on some award thing. And he goes up to him, and he tells him, you're not going to remember this, but as a kid, I came up to you in an airport with my grandpa, and he's like, oh, that's a jolly good story. I don't remember, but it's what is that accent?
Yeah,
Scrooge McDuck.
But he's like, it's nice to meet you. Just very, very nice or whatever. End of the award ceremony. Everybody's kind of funneling out. He goes outside. They're all waiting for their limos and their cars or whatever. It's Roger Moore waiting there, and Roger Moore calls him over there. It's like, just so you know, I did remember you from the airport as a child, but Blofeld's people could be anywhere, and he gave him the exact same. He remembered. He gave him the exact same little thing. He said it was the coolest.
That is so.
Like he didn't have to, entertain this dude at all. But he sounded like he was just a really, really just good guy on set. He treated the crew good. He didn't. A lot of those guys get those knights from the Queen over there.
I heard he could be a little bit of a diva sometimes, but it was more like a mood swing type thing, to where he had really highs and then he would go into some lows.
Well, apparently he was a big cigar smoker.
Yeah,
always had a stogie. How long did he live?
89.
Switched from cigarettes to cigars, I believe, at one point in his life.
Well, most of us have to.
He was in a movie in the late 70s when he would have been doing Bond with Richard Burton and Richard Harris, The Wild Geese.
Oh,
It was a really good action movie.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
And Burton and Harris, who didn't really like too many people, liked him. And the director, Ewan Lloyd, he had said that he was so worried about Burton and Harris with their drinking. He said, I didn't worry about Roger Moore, because he said he likes to drink, but he said he could handle it better than anybody. He said, I've seen him just down martinis and just, stay, calm and lucid and articulate. And he said one morning on the set of The Wild Geese, he was driving past this like bungalow or apartment that Moore had rented, and he said Roger was standing out there at dawn in his underpants holding a garden hose over his head. He goes, it must have been quite a night that.
Do you think anyone will ever refer to us that way? Like, I'm not worried about those guys when they drink. I'm worried about those other guys, but not the Tuesday night guys. They can handle their stuff. I'll take it from your laughter. What's that cartoon dog? The
Hanna-Barbera Snarly.
Yeah, the Hanna-Barbera Snaggletooth or whatever.
I saw the Texas National Guard deploying on my way up here. I think it's quite the opposite.
They knew what tonight was.
Go, 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 go.
So two men definitely worthy. What real quick before we go? Favorite James Bond movie? We never do it.
Live and Let
We're
Die.
never gonna. They're too long. We'll never do a Bond movie.
Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die.
It's the cheese. It's one of the cheesiest.
But boy, it's like
borderline
Cannonball
black
Run. It's like
exploitation.
Cannonball Run with Bond.
It's one of those
man.
things pops into my mind too, is Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die.
So fun.
I'm gonna guess Moonraker.
Nah, Spy Who Loved Me.
Spy
That's a good one, too.
It's a good one.
That really was the
Barbara
debut
Bach.
of Jaws.
Yeah. Growing up, I was always, man, I can't choose. There's just too many good ones. I will say, to Tud's point, I thought Skyfall, the second Daniel Craig one, was damn near perfect.
But I will say that he at least got the best Bond movie title ever.
Octopussy.
Octopussy.
Yeah.
Cade, you told me that The Living Daylights with Timothy Dalton was your all-time favorite Bond movie.
Shut up. You know what, Bren? Sometimes we say
God,
things.
you shut up.
Sorry. Hey, how come Luke Perry never became James Bond?
There's a big reason for that.
Because when he was doing...
And that wraps up our James
90210,
Bond Boot of Remembrance
he was already
segment.
45.
Just give me the boot.
Damn it, M.
Yeah,
Something.
good point. He was already older than Roger Moore when he was playing a senior in high school.
All right, touche.
He did a walking stick to go get his diploma.
Well,
Sorry, Luke. Love you.
the boot has been filled. Let's hope we don't have to do this again for a while. You want to share? Are we going to pass it or are we going to chug it?
I want some of that.
All right.
All right. I'm going to pass it.
I'm going to pass it.
Pass it right over Mincy.
Bunch of slack-jawed faggots around here.
As the doctor chugs the boot of remembrance, let's get right to the nitty gritty tonight.
Nothing?
Yeah, I got you some.
Oh, Tut's gonna have a sip. Roger Moore and Powers Booth Souls don't move on to the next level unless you take a sip.
All
of the
right,
boot.
I'll take a sip.
You know how the cosmos work, damn it.
I do.
I was going to pass it to him.
Yeah, somehow the same beer I just poured in here tastes fine. When you pour in that boot, it's just terrible. It's got the stink of death on it.
It does, man.
Notes of gangrene and a hellish
Notes of rigor mortis.
a hellish descent into Satan's castle.
What is this miasma?
All right, we paid tribute to some guys that brought us many hours of mindless escapism over the years, so thank you to them. We brought you up to speed on what we've been up to. Now we begin the fun part. Now we talk about tonight's cigar. Beer.
Man, there's something wrong with this. The draw on this sucks.
It's already started.
No, I was making a joke then, but I did honestly when I first picked it up. I was like, "Oh, what's up?"
You always do that. It is a closed foot cigar. You're not going to be able to get much on the cold draw tonight's, and we're going to explain that little ill-conceived joke of Tut's here in a minute because he made that several times at Cat's Fest as he was drinking to the owner of this cigar label.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Wouldn't it suck if you guys had a poor draw on your cigar and your Southern Draw Cigars? Like, we have 100%. Like he told us their quality control. Like we have machines testing every single cigar because we're named as Southern Draw. We cannot have poorly drawed cigars. 10 minutes later, Tut does some more whiskey. Wouldn't it be funny if yeah, Cat's Fest, gotta love it.
I mean, I'm just saying your name is Southern Draw, and if you had a bad draw, that just wouldn't be good.
Robert Holt got it. Speaking of Robert Holt and Southern Draw, we are smoking tonight the Rose of Sharon. This one we're smoking is the Gordo.
Yes.
I tossed the wrapper, and you know what? I'm a horrible podcaster for not writing the size on this down. Is the size on the band? I have everything else except
It's like a 60 box press.
It's hard to do a Connecticut box press.
In fact, does not.
Okay. Could you look at it for me real quick? Rose of Sharon Gordo.
It's a big fucker.
I'm curious because
That's the official size.
it's big, but it's not considerably heavy in the hand.
We have our own rating systems. We have our own size.
It is a
Big but not heavy in the hand.
Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, Nicaraguan as far as the filler is concerned, Nicaraguan Viso and Seco, Dominican Piloto Cubano Ligero, which I remember from our interview with Robert and Sharon Holt at Cats Fest, that's going to give it a little bit of bite and spice.
So 6.5 by 60.
6.5 by 60. Okay, it is 60 ring gauge.
Yeah.
And which I don't know if I've ever smoked a 60 ring gauge box press.
I've never smoked a 60 box press.
It is a beautiful silky wrapper. Rub your fingers up and down that side. It's really. You're gonna get me on everything I say tonight.
That's what I do.
I'm getting nothing but pure hay and barnyard off the aroma. Which
definitely.
Pete Johnson of Tajuaje has been smoking a lot of Cuban cigars and commenting on their quality or lack of on Facebook lately. And one of the things he's talking about, the aging of tobacco and how Cuba, in a rush to get product out there, is putting out prematurely aged cigars. And one of the telltale signs is a green tobacco, a grassy. It's the difference between smelling a freshly cut lawn and walking into an old barn and dry hay. That's what you want.
Yeah.
And this has that.
I've worked at a quarter horse ranch. This is barn.
This is pure barn.
Not manure.
Not manure.
Just good old alfalfa.
Just good old whatever. Alfalfa. That's what you feed horses, right?
Yeah,
We just grow sorghum here.
Hey.
Hay is for horses.
Why don't you just say hey then? You had to be
I worked at a quarter house farm.
do that. The Hanna-Barbera laugh again. Can we inject a little cartoon dog
Just all of a
over
sudden
there?
pops up.
I want a button so every time I say a joke and you guys don't laugh, I can have a little cartoon dog pop up. We talked with Robert and Sharon about the cigar because it had just received a 100-point rating the week, I think, before Cats Fest. And
That's good,
They were
right?
kind of right. That is the best. And it's the only one I've ever seen, actually, in all my years of reading reviews and whatnot. It really spoke to this specific reviewer.
You gonna light these some bitches up?
Let's light them up. We are big fans of the Firethorn, the
Kudzu.
Kudzu. All stronger offerings, not powerhouses, but
Yeah.
stronger.
Yeah.
Robert expressed that he was missing a Connecticut cigar.
I was about to say the Kudzu's
Far
got some
left.
strength to it. The Firethorn is still strong, but it's a little bit more mellow. I call it a cleaner smoke. I'm really kind of curious about this.
Well, he needed a far left side of the spectrum Connecticut cigar,
which normally I don't like.
But he wanted this to be a love letter of sorts to his wife, Sharon. She handles a lot of the Southern Draw business behind the scenes. From talking to Robert, it sounds like she puts up with a lot of his antics. What wife doesn't. But I'll bring it out here our next break. At Cats Fest, they're actually selling a 2-pack of Toros in a pink wooden coffin box with
pretty.
Rose of Sharon on it. She was autographing them. Had a Sammy Kershaw lyric on it.
She don't know she's beautiful.
Don't know she's beautiful. It was just kind of a
never.
I told him he put us all to shame as far as husbands go because he made a cigar for his wife and you know, what have you done for your wife lately?
I scoop cat poo.
He don't know he's beautiful.
That is why the doctor has remained unburied.
Cat poo. Cat poo.
Can I have cats in the abandoned sawmill?
Well,
I'll take care of them.
I guess I wouldn't be allergic to them because there'd be a bunch of sawdust around, so they'd be fine.
All right, cool.
Yeah. By the way, we're getting closer and closer to needing that sawmill. This world is going tits up in a hurry.
It sure is. Real quick before we move on to the beer, you could tell this was a special cigar to them as a company, as a couple, as a man, as a wife. It just had a really interesting story. Go to our YouTube page, watch the interview with Robert and Sharon. They are good folks, and I don't. You smoke a lot more of the Southern Draw stuff than I do on a regular basis. But the way he built this up, I did not smoke one the entire Cats weekend. There was a lot of them around.
Yeah.
So this is I've been very anxious to try this, but I have not had one yet.
I was about to say I saw them in Havana House in North Austin, and I have deliberately avoided them because I knew that we were going to be doing it on the show.
For my edification, one, do you attempt to
light
light
it?
Yes.
the same way?
Yeah.
Same way. Torch.
Then what is the
What's the purpose of the
it?
closed
Yes.
foot?
It's going to give you the essence of the wrapper immediately. We actually talked about this with Robert at night, and he gave a very eloquent, distinct answer to why you do the closed foot. We were drinking.
And we can't remember a damn word he said.
One, I believe one was because of transit.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In the store, people are
You're
rough with
correct.
cigars, and by having that closed foot, you have a better chance of keeping the cigar intact.
Correct.
Also, I believe when you light that closed foot, you get immediate taste of that wrapper, of what
Yeah.
you're going to be getting
It's
from
kind
that
of
wrapper.
like the reverse of the shaggy foot.
Correct. Shaggy foot, where it's where the wrapper's receded slightly off the end, you get the filler, and then when that wrapper hits, you see the medley. This kind of works ass backwards from that. But I'm not, dude. It's an interesting story cigar. It's a Texas company. Like we drinking Texas beer tonight.
Out of the AJ Fernandez factory.
They
though?
do everything out of AJ Fernandez's factory.
I'm
in
a big fan
Nicaragua.
of AJ.
Off the record, if you ever get a chance to go do a meet and greet with Robert at a shop or at a festival like we did, the guy has some great stories, a lot of great tobacco stories too, behind the scenes stuff that he's not, for good reason, probably willing to
Yeah.
well, he won't go on the record with us, but get a beer and sit down with him, and he's just a very open.
You can't miss him.
guy.
He's like 6'4", looks like Kevin Nash from the
You
WWE.
told him that. I don't think he
Either he didn't know who
Kevin
Kevin
Nash
Nash
was.
was, or he's just not a fan.
yeah, just.
Too sweet.
And I don't even know what I know Kevin Nash. I don't know what that means.
What? Wolfpack WCW days? Him and Razor Ramon.
Anyway,
Oh, I'm sorry, wrong podcast.
that's your wrestling podcast, which I don't want anything to do with. Anyway, interesting cigar, interesting backstory.
Wednesday night wrestling roundup.
WTW.
Let's dig in. Let's light it up while Yak Boy tells us about.
Tell us about tonight's beer.
tonight's beer.
Tonight's beer comes to us from the Victory Brewing Company
Out of.
out of Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Downington.
Oh, I thought we had a Texas beer tonight. I screwed that up.
Well, actually, you should be thankful. This is Victory. Victory is our friend. Victory is also the maker of the wonderful Golden Monkey. Yes.
Oh snap!
Victory started by two childhood friends, Ron Barchet and Bill Kovaleski.
Awesome name.
How did a guy named Ron and Bill come up with the Golden Monkey?
I don't know, but they
Hindu inspired.
well, I think, and I don't know why. I mean, that's kind of a weird, Golden Monkey, but then it's a Belgian style triple.
Yeah.
So a lot of influences going into that one, but this one
is not.
What we're drinking tonight is Summer Love. It is a American Golden Ale, which it's
Which
similar,
by the color is straight up on cue.
It is very
It's
similar
a
to
beautiful, beautiful beer.
It's made it very similar to a normal pale ale, but it comes out just lighter in all everything.
On the pour, it's beautiful. It's
Yes,
got a nice
it's-
frothy head, a beautiful golden color, bubbles coming through.
Well, and
I saw that.
The official tagline from the company is "Enjoy the easy days with summer with this refreshing and aromatic golden ale. Enticing, earthy, and citrusy hop aromas give way to flavors of lemon and pine."
I totally do not get citrusy, hoppy aroma.
Well,
I do get the pine.
I do.
A tiny bit of
I'm
pine.
tasting.
I get a little
citrus,
lemon,
No
little pine.
bitterness. I'm not getting
but
bitterness.
the
No,
IBUs on this
no.
are very low.
It's like 2.
25.
Or 2.
25. There's a 2 in there. 25. and the ABV is a 5.2.
I've heard it both ways.
Well, tonight was hard to pair because we have a cigar based out of love, a movie that talks a lot about love. So to try to find a beer that fit the theme was a little bit challenging.
it's extremely challenging.
There are some pink beers out there which we looked into.
There's actually
Steel Reserve, the beer of love.
No, that's beer when you don't love yourself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It actually says that on the can if you look closely.
People who drink it don't ever look that closely.
But we wanted. We talked with Robert a little bit at Cats about pairings and about he talked about when he's at the AJ Fernandez factory rolling these things for weeks at a time. He can't drink anything but room temperature tap water.
Yeah.
Because if you drink cold water, it affects your palate. So he's smoking test cigars all day long. If he drinks cold water, that affects your taste buds where you're not sensing things the right way. If you drink alcohol, you're totally different. So he wants the most pure to suit his palate.
This is why.
So it was hard to find a beer that we didn't want to jack with the cigar experience.
This is why I should be hired as a taster, because I call BS on that. And once a cigar goes into the wild, nobody is smoking it with warm tap water. They're smoking it with everything under the sun.
You're missing the whole point.
So I need to be that guy who's like, give me that beer, smoke. All right, give me that whiskey, smoke.
That is a great just-sounding job.
6 months later, we're playing taps at Tut's funeral. What's it taste like with beer? It's good. He was a great taste tester for 6 months.
Job. Big boot-shaped coffin.
I think we should all be buried in boot-shaped coffins. But when it leaves the factory, he knows what it tastes like at its purest, most without all the elements that are going to come into play. He knows what he produced. Obviously, we could never go down to Nicaragua and not drink booze for weeks at a time.
To Tut's point, what's the point of that? You said he's missing the point. What's
consistency?
The point?
Yeah.
If he was drinking cold water one day while he was testing, if he was drinking a Coke,
Oh, I see.
he had to
changes
maintain a
that.
baseline.
Right.
So when he would know, hey, these smoked like this on day 3, on day 10, it tastes the same because.
So he could drink straight Scotch as long as it's the same kind.
As long as
Right,
it was
right.
the same, correct.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that makes total sense, because if you sit down and you talk with the guy a little bit, he's very, very scientific. He loves to talk about math and their workflow, and that makes sense because if you introduce different variables in your production, variables fuck shit up. I mean, that's the enemy of consistency. So as long as you have the same consistent environment when you're trying all these
Variables
pairings, there you go.
are the enemy of consistency. Did you make that up?
Sure. Let's write that down.
I'm going to put that on the front of the YouTube video in quotes. We do an opening quote, but I'm going to put my name under it. That was a good one.
By its very definition, a variable is something that changes things. So
I was about to say, it's like Yogi Berra. Yeah. And some things, the things that stay the same just keep changing.
Guess what? I'm not writing it down now. You blew it.
That would be good
Thanks,
too.
Mincy.
52 episodes, you finally impressed me with something you said, and you blew it out of the water, Doc. Thank you.
you're welcome. That's why I'm here.
Boy, it doesn't offer a lot in the way of a myriad of flavors, but
No.
it's very light and good.
I think it's a little bit. I guess when I first, what kind of? It's a golden ale.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess when I first saw it, I was thinking like, oh, cool, light pilsner, something really, really airy. This isn't really airy. It's got a little bit of a heft to it.
It does have on the back end. There's a little tiny bite, but that's where I get that pine.
But see, I
back
wouldn't
end.
describe it as a pine. I think it's just the pine taste. Okay, maybe pine taste has a bite. All right.
Little. Go out. I want you to go outside and eat a pine cone right now. Go out there.
I'm from East Texas. I've eaten plenty of pine cones.
It was my breakfast for entire elementary school years.
Pineos.
Glass of chocolate milk and a pine cone.
Other kids got Fruit Loops. I just got ground up pine cones.
I just ate it like an apple. My father was a squirrel. God, what a life this guy's lived.
It's an interesting beer.
I don't think so. I don't.
Sometimes we drag those pine cones
Well,
to
that's
the garden.
that, I was actually.
I don't think it's interesting at all. I think it tastes okay, but there's nothing.
It's a pussy beer.
The phrase that comes on right after that was in that. It's got. I mean, there's outside of that little heft, the little bit of a pine deal.
Yeah.
There's not that much
But
going on.
it suits what we were seeking tonight, which
it
was
fits what you
my
described
only
in the bill.
instructions when we were all doing the beer hunt. Don't get in the way of the cigar. I want to enjoy. I want to get the most I get of the cigar without it fighting the beer or competing with the beer. And this, I think we accomplished.
Yeah, and that that was our
Disagree.
number one thing is we were really
Disagree?
looking- What it doesn't? You think it's contrasting?
Yes.
All right, get that man a glass of warm tap water.
It's already ready. I already put it on the table.
It's too soon to tell. I mean, good lord, the smoke hasn't even.
It's my line.
What's with you tonight, man? You're
Gimmick infringement.
stepping on everybody's toes.
All right, I deserve that for the variable thing. I'm sorry.
All right, you know what? You go eat a pine cone. We're switching things up tonight.
Maybe that'll get me drunk.
It is too.
This beer certainly won't.
That's a little McCullough there. Maybe the pine cone will raise my blood alcohol content. This shandy certainly isn't.
If you're going to.
Real quick, while we're still in the early, I was surprised at the spice early on in the cigar.
I thought the spice was kind of muted, to be honest.
From a Connecticut standpoint, I got a really nice burn in the nostrils that I usually don't associate with the Connecticut. That is half an inch in. That's kind of mellowing out a little bit. But is it way too early to discuss the cigar?
Let's go ahead. I mean, we're all in this now at the very beginning. What's I detected a hint of spice, and that's disappeared on me.
Quick and then
Yeah,
then
and
fade.
so like I'm just kind of trying to go through some retro hells and see if anything off the initial, because I mean I'm literally at maybe quarter to a half inch.
It's got a little bit of that spice on the back.
Yeah, I was going to say I've got a very light, barely
It's
discernible
very-
spice.
that spice is working really good. I'm getting a toast, toasted bread, and a little bit of cream after that spice. But for me, the spice has not totally dissipated. It's still a little
I'm
bit
actually
there.
getting cream off of this.
Toasted bread. That's articulate.
I did not get the toasted bread, but I did get the cream.
No, I'm impressed.
I don't think it was more of a bagel, really.
No, I'm sorry. You know what?
Croissant.
No, I messed up. It's an English muffin. What is this, amateur hour? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I just a toasted bread note and the cream. But that spice is still just at the underlying everything.
No, you say it, and then I make it make sense. Like you said, toasted bread and cream, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I just never would have articulated that.
Actually, it does have a little bit of toast on the retro hill.
Well, I am an internet cigar expert.
I'm a doctor.
Right.
I get bored with Connecticut's. I have started over the last year or so.
It's a shit state. I mean, that's right. Yeah.
Well, come on, let's not state the obvious.
Bored with Connecticut's? I get bored with you.
Hey, hurt.
I was saying Connecticut's are bad.
Oh well, Cody is
Cody's
our resident. But but you didn't let me finish. I have been smoking quite a bit more Connecticut cigars ever since the Drew Estate Underground Shade.
Right.
Really kind of was like, oh, that's something new.
I like how you stood up for that, and how quickly you were prepared to get aggressive.
I enjoyed the
Good night.
Let's go, Tim.
I enjoyed the 2012 Oscar Connecticut we started off the year with.
Yeah.
I also we all love the Zlotno Sans Connecticut from
Yes, very much.
That
Yasum
was
Crawl.
actually really good.
So
yeah, really good Connecticut.
it seems like people are really stepping up. You weren't here.
Some kind of Russian dialect.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Doc. You weren't here for any of those. I'm sensing
also,
people
a lot of-
experimenting more with adding some spice and some different elements to the Connecticut to
But
bring.
at the same time, isn't that kind of the sense of we like the look of the cigar, but we don't like the taste?
No.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of the problem with the
Sounds like my
the
dating
Connecticut's of years past is it was there. Here's mild, just whatever, just wrap it up mild. What is it going to taste like? It's mild.
Yeah.
What
yeah.
flavor is it? Mild.
Mild. What
I
notes? What notes are
Am I
there
getting
in
hints
that?
of
Just
waffle
mild.
and maple? No, it's just mild.
The sprinkle of mild with the inner mild.
To answer your point, Tut, from coming from my first few years where I just went for the darkest, most oily Maduro bastards I could get a hold of.
Yeah.
Just strictly Nicaraguan leaf.
He was talking about cigars.
I I'm not talking about cigars. But no, coffee, spice,
Right.
dark, power.
Yeah.
You don't get that cream that I really start trying to seek out, that creaminess, that coffee, not espresso, not powerhouse coffee, but a latte, a creamy, and that's where I'm kind of finding that in the Connecticut's that people are playing with.
That kind of makes sense because I kind of treated beer the same way. I went straight for the dark stout, straight for the bitters. I was just like, give me the stoutest thing that you have out here. There wasn't at that time the big American coffee stout revelation, so it was like a lot of those cream stouts. There was a bitterness to those stouts, and then as I matured and I started exploring and wanted to become proficient in a lot of other beers.
I missed that. When did you mature? Sorry, I'm so sorry.
I'm done. This is my last show.
I think it's a good parallel. I will say, funny enough, the Southern Draw Cigars drawing beautifully, perfect airflow. Look at that smoke coming off Tut's cigar. Perfect burn line. It's not for a 60 ring gauge. It's not too much. I don't know. I like 60. I smoke 60 ring gauges. I smoke, the Mayuzi weighs a ton. Is one of my go-tos.
I actually had to touch mine up. I don't know whether I lit it wrong or not, so I just did a really quick blast touching it up, and the burn line corrected itself almost instantly.
I'm looking at everyone's cigars.
Burn line is
razor
like,
sharp. Burn.
Yeah.
Look at Doctor's, perfect. So construction, not an issue.
Well, coming out of the AJ factory, I don't think he wanted to.
No, AJ does good. He's not going to put out subpar stuff. But let's come back to. But right now, I'm getting the cream, the toasted bread. But that spice is hanging in there for me. I like it. I like it a lot.
It does. It's almost like you get the spice off of the regular draw, but that toast and that cream kicks in on the retro.
It's a go-to flavor. You get a lot with Connecticut's, but I am getting the cedar, that lighter woodsiness too. So you know what? We'll come back. We'll come back here shortly. We do have a movie tonight. What movie? You can see.
Fantastic.
These were the
this pink band is so pretty.
It is a very pretty pink. Secondary
it's
band on the
cigar. Pretty in pink.
He may be dumb, but he's slow too.
This cigar is pretty in pink. Yes, it is. And I don't know if I'm loving it yet, but it's all coming together, boys. Tonight's film is 1986. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Is it 86?
Shot in 85. Released in 86.
My wife and I were debating this.
Pretty-
I thought it was later 80s.
86. I thought it was earlier 80s, actually. Pretty in pink. Haven't done a film like this before, guys.
No, I was kind of concerned coming into tonight. It would be the strength of our personalities that carry this movie.
Oh, we're toast. Speaking of toast, we're toast. Written by John Hughes. Listen to this real quick. This is his 8-year run from 1983 to 1990.
I don't think you're going to find one better.
As a writer only. A few of these he directed. I'll single those out. National Lampoon's Vacation.
Winner.
Mr. Mom.
Winner.
16 Candles.
Winner.
Breakfast Club.
Winner.
I'm sorry, let's just by year. 1983, Vacation and Mr. Mom. 84, 16 Candles.
Excellent.
85, Breakfast Club, European Vacation, Weird Science.
Oh, dang.
That's a year right there. That's a career maker.
Oh, you think that's
Exactly.
good? 86, Pretty in Pink, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh,
87, Some Kind of Wonderful, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, man.
88, Great Outdoors,
good Lord.
Uncle
man.
Buck, Christmas Vacation.
I totally didn't know he was Uncle Buck.
Christmas Vacation, and Home Alone. That what a fucking 8-year run. That's unheard of.
I think after 8 years,
Best
he would have just.
writer in Hollywood history.
He did a lot of sequels and a lot of like those Beethoven.
That's amazing.
Dog.
I mean, because I thought the Farrelly brothers 3 in a row with Dumb and Dumber, Kingpin, or something about Mary couldn't be topped.
like that
That's
was
an 8-year
like the
run.
comedy trifecta. This dude wrote those like.
That's got. I
One,
mean,
two,
best
three.
writer in
This guy
Hollywood
pretty
history.
much create for the high school and that he is the 80s.
If you add career opportunities,
just
which
basically-
was not a bad flick
this
in
guy
1991.
created the 80s and he made your Christmas.
Every year he makes
It really is though, like for the
Yeah.
Generation X high school thing of the 80s.
Holy shit! Yeah, yeah, yeah.
By the way, I know we're getting in the movie, but hit a retro hail on this thing if you haven't done it.
oh yeah.
Oh, I've been retro. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I've been doing it all night. It's great. It's wonderful.
You know what's in there? Lips and assholes.
No, but I think it's an unheard of decade of
I knew that he was prolific with the teen scene at that time. I had no idea. Uncle Buck, Great Outdoors, Ferris Bueller's Day
Well, here's
Off.
the ones he directed. He wrote and directed 16 Candles was his first. Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and Uncle Buck.
Totally forgot about.
You know,
Weird
you
Science.
saying these are the ones he directed.
Yeah.
You can really see that with Pretty in Pink. If I'm thinking about it right now, but we'll get to that.
No, it's interesting. I thought he directed Pretty in Pink, but he did
didn't.
not. He just
Yeah,
wrote it.
I knew
Yeah.
he didn't. I knew he didn't. And this was Ringwald's, I guess, third John Hughes film.
That was a question I had that you answered. Was I knew that 16 Candles was in '84. I
Right.
didn't know if Breakfast Club came before or after.
It came
this.
right after, and he directed her in those two.
So
and-
Pretty in Pink came out right after Breakfast Club.
correct. He
Okay.
actually wrote Pretty in Pink for Molly Ringwald, and she initially declined. They started looking at Sarah Jessica Parker, some weird names that make no sense on when
Yeah.
we think about it now.
I couldn't see it.
But she came, she came back for probably what is known as, I don't know, I associate her more with this movie than any other movie. She's an ensemble in Breakfast Club. She's one of
Yeah.
6 or whatever, 4.
Well, I really think,
16
I mean-
Candles. It was her film in a sense, but
This
she-
was. Yeah.
I find 16 Candles and this one. 16 Candles is obviously more lighthearted than this one, where it's taking a more serious tone.
Right.
But, I mean, I do like 16 Candles,
And we talked
but
about,
I think I like 16 Candles more because Hughes directed it.
I love 16 Candles.
and that's more our style. We talked about this on our 3rd episode, maybe Up the Creek, or 2nd episode, way back then.
Yeah,
We were always big fans of the TNA 80s movies, the Porkies, the Up the Creeks, the hamburgers and hot dogs and nachos. No, there's no nachos.
Well, there ought to be
why
though.
shouldn't-
Nachos,
but,
the movie.
but at some point in the 80s, they decided, no, wait, you know what? Teenagers are more than TNA, titty
Right.
and ass hijinks. They have feelings, and we need to talk about those. So they made this fucking movie, and
that was a mistake.
that was a mistake.
Teenagers should never
Well,
be
this
told they
film-
have feelings.
This film, and we'll talk a little bit more about John Hughes and his stamp on that entire decade of cinema later, but this film was directed by a guy named Howard Deutsch.
I think it might be pronounced Dutch, actually.
Douche.
Douche.
Howard Douche.
He directed 2 other Hughes movies. After this, Some Kind of Wonderful, and The Great Outdoors. And
Bow, bow.
fun fact, he's been married to actress Leah Thompson since 1989 of Back to the
Leah.
Future fame. And Some Kind of
Some
Wonderful.
Kind of Wonderful. Which also featured our boy Craig Sheffer.
Love that guy.
Who's the other girl that I always get confused with? Leah Thompson, the one that was in War Games.
One that was in War Games.
Oh, that was Ali Sheedy.
Very different.
She was also in Breakfast Club.
Correct. Ali Sheedy was. Very, very correct.
Yeah.
Who did what?
Notre Damus.
Nostradamus, Notre Dame, they're 2 different things completely.
Yeah, but they're still Max.
What's the fucking get sorry. We'll come back to that later.
We'll come back to it real quick about, I'm not even a third in. The woodsiness is picking up for me. That cedar, spice is still there.
Is that fan going to?
In the cream, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's what's keeping the smoke from...
It's just the Texas heat.
I guess so. Figured I'd low ride the shirt, so some chest hair and gold chains.
It's
It's
James
short
Spader
sweater.
style. But yeah, right now for me, the cedar and the cream and the spice are really what's going strong. What about you boys? Before I get into this film,
I am taking note there. I'm picking up the cream a lot. Not so much on the earthy part yet, but maybe that'll get to me.
Look at that, huh?
construction is impeccable.
Yeah.
I'm looking around. Everyone's burn lines. Everyone's smoke production. Yeah.
About to have to ash that. It's turning
which is
into a
not
little bit
an
of the
easy
Leaning Tower
thing
of
to do.
pizza.
Yeah.
It's a handmade product made by
People.
It's hard to get this kind of consistency, but you know they pride themselves on it, and the proof's in the potato. It shows. So, well, we start things off with a morning montage.
Not really Richard Butler's voice, but okay.
A fine montage of a fair-skinned, nubile body getting dressed for the day, while the psychedelic furs rock out to our Pretty in Pink theme song.
I'm sorry, dude.
And that soft, nubile, attractive body belongs to none other than Harry Dean Stanton.
You skipped over the obvious, the message. They show the neighborhood with the train tracks, and like it looks like you're like, was this fucking Damascus? This looks like bombed out and depleted.
It is the wrong side of the tracks. No, it's not Harry Dean Stanton showing us his legs. It's Molly Ringwald.
Andrew McCarthy.
And once she's all dressed up in her funky home-sewn clothes, she drags her dad, who is Harry Dean Stanton, out of bed to look for a job. Or Andy, that's the character's name, tries to anyway. He's hungover as shit.
Did that remind you of anything?
Us tomorrow style.
Laying there in your wife beater tank top, all curled up in the fetal position. Wake up!
Well, she tries to lure him out of bed with coffee. That doesn't work. Then she tries to beg him, Dad, please. That doesn't work. Been there. Then she's like, well, I'll make you some breakfast. He's like, all right, baby, I'll get up. As soon as she leaves the room, he curls back at the fetal
And here
position.
comes the 80s theme of the teen being the parent.
That is a common thing we see in these movies. But this motherfucker does not want to get up.
I like him.
I like him too.
TNCC style.
As listeners to our show might know by now, I'm a huge Harry Dean Stanton fan. And he's great here. You totally believe the love he has for his daughter. He's very warm, which Harry Dean Stanton is not a warm actor.
He is
That's
warm.
not his like go-to move, being a warm, emotionally open person.
He was warm. I thought it was a bit one note.
Interesting casting.
But am I the only one who every time he wasn't on the scene didn't hear, avenge me?
No. I haven't seen Red Dawn in a while. I know you.
I like Stanton as much as you do.
It was odd casting, but I believed him.
I really
First
didn't.
disagreement of the night.
Yeah.
Boy.
I like him.
Well,
I love Harry. I love Harry Dean.
I think-
Tut said one note, and I got to agree with that.
Okay, but is
thought
that
very
is that
stilted.
actor problem, or is that the way the character was written? Let's be honest. The dad in this is very soft. I mean, there's not a lot to him.
It's the only thing I've ever seen him in where I thought,
Well, I mean, I think we see some stuff later on in the movie.
I do too. I thought he did really well with the role. It was something you would never see. I thought it was really ballsy casting, but I believed he loved his daughter. I believed his warmth, and I also read between his words and predicted way ahead of time, there's no way this fucker's getting out of bed and going to that job interview today. He didn't say that, but I got it.
it's because it's somebody we can all relate to.
Right.
That's like me with the morning alarm clock.
I love how he's our cinematic hero, this 65-year-old drunk. He's the original drunk dad.
Yes, he
So he
is.
Well, Andy arrives at school where she's met by the equally funkily dressed Ducky, played by the highly likable, at this point in the film, John Cryer. Mincy and I, the doctor and I
thought
met...
you said at this point in his career.
No.
Well, his career would go on to much more lucrative things than later in life.
It would, financially anyway.
Yeah, Kate and I did meet Mr. Cryer, and he was a very pleasant individual.
We're at a film festival in Las Vegas. He was going around interviewing filmmakers. Is before 2.5 Men.
It was the summer before he went on to 2.5 Men.
He was working as a reporter for the tabloid show Extra.
Extra.
And he came and he interviewed us, and we were just like, Ducky! And dude, he didn't shy away from the duck stuff.
And we were relatively sober for us.
For Vegas and us.
He was very
Oh my
pleasant.
god, I could just see him going.
I would have.
I was in fucking Pretty in Pink, and now I'm interviewing you schmucks.
Or what's the Hiding Out?
Yeah. Oh, Hiding Out! I loved Hiding Out.
Yeah, but no, we were
There
like
was another. For some reason, I can't get John Cryer confused with one of the nerds from Dazed and Confused. The one who gets his ass beat.
Anthony Rapp.
Dude, nobody in Dazed and Confused reminds me of John Cryer.
No,
Okay.
that's like 20 years apart.
But for some reason, when I was watching this, and I thought about
10 years apart,
I thought
yeah.
about Hiding Out. For some reason, I was thinking that
Yeah.
Rapp
No,
did that
at this
one.
point in the film, but no.
totally
but my
wrong.
point was he was totally cool with us. We called it. That's all we called him was Ducky. I don't even know if we knew his name.
I don't recall us being that bad, but that is 14 years of alcohol abuse ago. So, but
Sure.
I remember that he was just being very nice. We have a picture of ourselves with him.
I suppose the word. I'll put that up on the website. It's a good little picture.
Yeah.
He was very nice. I suppose the word vintage would be used today to describe Andy and Ducky's style. She's very thrift store. He pretty much dresses like Kramer on Seinfeld with the addition of some John Lennon sunglasses. In fact, as she's sitting in
But
English,
that was like
Very 80s.
That was like typical 80s. I mean,
very,
that was
very
like
new wave.
well, there was the
extremely new wave-ish.
there was the
80s.
dark goth Depeche Mode kids. There were these that were a little bit tamer.
Do you erase your kids?
And then there was the jocks and the swatch wearing acid wash jeans.
my
kids.
people, the evil preppies.
I was about to say, go the evil preppies.
We called you the Bugle Boys.
crushed linen suit.
I was about to say, basically, go watch Breakfast Club, and you'll get the entire cross section of high school cliques,
Well,
except for the band nerds.
to tell you just how lame her clothes are, she's sitting in English class minding her own business.
You guys don't warrant a movie.
When two big-haired blonde babes give her dirty looks,
Not till American Pie.
and they ask her, "Did you get your outfit at the Five and Dime?"
Oh, the five and dime.
Out of nowhere, man. Girls can be so cruel to each other.
Boy,
Yeah,
they're
you
way
fucking asshole.
teenage girls are way meaner to each other than dudes.
Oh,
are.
they certainly are.
Like if you were like in a different clique in high school, you just as guys, you wouldn't bother with one another. You never
No.
would go out of your way to like
I make fun of guys behind their backs, but I
yeah,
would never
but you
say
never
it to
do
their
stuff
face.
like that.
Wait, now you're a teenage girl.
Well,
Even assholes like me who sported the linen suits and the loafers with no socks to school.
we went to school with you. You didn't wear that. Sorry, dog.
Maybe you had sideburns after all.
Yeah, I remember you wearing that linen suit. Well, that weak little diss about the Five and Dime gets the popular girls extra homework, despite Andy raising her hand and begging the teacher she doesn't want any trouble to let him off the hook. But no,
Who's the dark-haired chick?
Vile bitches.
the dark-haired?
Yeah.
I don't
She's
know.
not in. I know what you're talking about, but Gina Gershon has not made her appearance yet.
Yeah, Gina Gershon comes later.
The main blonde one.
Benny.
I did not realize this actress named Kate Vernon. Her dad is John Vernon of the
Who
Dean
is?
from Animal House.
Oh yes. That's
I
correct.
did not know that.
Yeah.
I can actually see that, though.
And she went on to have a child with the lead singer of Three Dog Night. How's that for some trivia?
No shit.
She did. It was an unwanted child. I don't know anything about it.
It was unwanted sex.
Well, trouble has a way of finding Andy, doesn't it, boys? As she heads out to her funky vintage pink car after school, she's ambushed by the slick as hell feathered-haired dreamboat Steph,
Oh my god, that hair.
played by the one and only James Spader.
The saving grace of this film.
He tries every move in his arsenal to come on to Andy. He tells her he's liked her for 4 years now, and out of all the chicks he could have his way with in high school, he wants her.
What about the maneuver of raising up the crumpled pack of Marlboro Light 100s and pulling one
Well, no,
out?
that comes in a minute because she tells him, you know what?
Always
don't
works for me.
I don't want anything to do with you. So he does this was very popular in 80s movies. When a man is rejected, he's putting on the sweet stuff. The minute he's rejected, he pops a Marlboro in his mouth. You're a bitch. And walks off. Commando style.
I like the follow-up line. You should see a doctor about that condition or something like that.
It could get worse.
But think about Commando. Remember when Sully was trying to come on to Ray Dong Chong? He's like, come on, baby, I want to give you a good time. She's like, I'm not interested. I'm sorry. You fucking whore.
Fucking whore.
It's like it goes from, I'm working it. Oh, you fucking bitch.
You were right about me. I am lousy.
Yeah, I'm going to verify everything you thought about me, you bitch.
want to see Cade use that one day on his wife. You should see a doctor about that condition. And Cade is now sleeping in the yard.
I'll let you know how that goes. Well, Andy heads over to her after-school job at Trax, T-R-A-X, the local record store. Her coworker, Iona.
Ghostbusters.
I disagree with you that James Spader's the best thing in this. I think Annie Potts is the best thing in
I
this.
agree. Ghostbusters.
I had a boner for Annie Potts back in the 80s.
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
A foxy,
I still do.
She's the secretary from Ghostbusters. She's a foxy but quirky 30-something punk rocker, and played by Annie Potts. She's beautiful in this. And she's giving Andy shit for not going to her prom. Gorgeous. She insists you're going to regret it for the rest of your life if you don't go to prom. But it's just a stupid tradition, Andy says, to which Iona says, you could say that life itself is a stupid tradition. Don't analyze it. Just go. That's pure John Hughes
Terrible advice.
message. No, but that's pure John Hughes.
It is.
You know, in John Hughes' world, prom
Don't
is
think
everything.
about it. Just do it.
Bigger picture.
That's good advice in general.
That's what John Hughes was saying.
Well,
Don't analyze it.
remember, Andy's dad also brought up prom that morning. So this is a black cloud that's been following her.
He was just trying to get her out of his hair so he could go back to bed. He didn't say anything at that point.
She's like, Dad, I'm going to sit here with you till you get a job. All right, but I'm going to talk a lot about prom. All right, I'm out of here. Nice.
Every time.
I got to send the dog out for more Budweiser. Did you guys get the sense that he sent his dog down to the corner store to get beers?
He sent somebody.
Just a little bell around its neck and a little bucket.
Put a $10 bill under his collar and... Anyway, I've been
want
trying
that dog.
I've been trying to train my wiener dog to do that for years.
Charles Mortimer gets lost.
Well, speaking of black clouds, guess who walks into the record store just then? That's right, everybody. It's me,
I knew we were going to get more impersonations.
Black Cloud personified.
You said we'd be logging for McKay before the night was over.
I'm here. I'm here to ruin this movie. AMAC. Andrew McCarthy.
Hey, Mac.
The one and only.
No one's ever referred to him. We're calling him that now.
I was about to say,
Hey,
he's actually probably going, finally, a cool nickname.
I'll be playing the neutered, doe-eyed schlub in this film. Hope you enjoy it.
I do not understand how this guy got cast.
Enjoy the show.
Do you want to know how he got cast?
Yes.
I shall tell you. They did not want him, but Ringwald said that she liked him. They were trying to pick out a guy. They went through some other guys, and she did. I don't know who they were. It's on IMDb. But they had some other guys picked out. She didn't like any of them, and when she saw like his headshot or whatever, she's like, "Well, that's the kind of guy I would fall in love with."
Which was interesting because it turns out she desperately needed eyeglasses. And after Pretty in Pink, she got eyeglasses, and when she watched the film, she's like, "Oh my god!"
I think I'm gonna have to look it up on IMDb. I think Dutch and Hughes actually were saying like they thought he was a dweeb.
Well, I'd say he lights up the screen, but he's more like the dim bulb of '80s teen heartthrobs. And
I don't know.
Should have been William Zabka. He would have owned it.
I know girls who liked him.
Blaine pretends his name's Blaine in this film.
I know
which
girls
suits him
who
to a
liked
T.
him.
Blaine pretends to look at some records, but he's clearly just interested in Andy. He takes a lame Steve Lawrence record up to the register. The only thing in the movie lamer than him, which elicits a proper but restrained mocking from Andy. She kind of gives him shit for it.
By the way, my wife loved this record store.
She asks him...
She's like, Morrissey, the Smiths.
Yeah, there was heavy. And she's like, oh, would you like to use your American Express Platinum card to buy this? She's giving him some of the rich jabs, which I thought was funny. She doesn't do that shit with the rich girls who pick on her in school. She doesn't do it with Steph with his sexual advances. But for some reason, she picks this.
You only pick on those you love.
Via IMDb, Spader was actually offered the role of Blaine, but turned it down because he thought it'd be more fun to play Steph, according to IMDb.
Which was a fantastic choice.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
big time.
Yes.
But you know what? He's rich, she's poor. She makes a jab at him. It spooks him enough where he leaves without asking her out or even talking to her more. But as he leaves, we kind of linger on her face. You can tell she likes him.
Do they still have like the class rich kid versus poor kid stuff?
I think now
Teen
maybe
movie stuff?
No, I think in the 90s, and Mincy, you watch a lot of the... I think in the late 90s, early 2000s, it became much more of a racial thing. You had the white girl coming from somewhere and the African American. Like, they went more that avenue than poor versus rich. This was... I didn't remember this movie being so heavy-handed, poor versus rich.
Even if you look at
every scene, they find a way to work it in there.
If you go with the they hit the class issue over the head. If you look at even if you go even far back in time, like Romeo and Juliet are both noble families. There's warring families, but they're both wealthy. One that you guys did on the show, the great movie Can't Buy Me Love. They're next door neighbors, and it looks like a very upscale, wealthy neighborhood. So they're both like wealthy families.
That was more nerds and jocks.
As far as the class struggle of like a really poor, really rich.
But this is also a theme that plays out in all of his movies.
But I mean, it seemed like it picked up in the '80s though, because like Outsiders with the greasers versus the jocks or the preps. Prep was a big word in the '80s. Preppies. With your loafers and your linen suits.
Well, you know what? You guys have a good point, because I thought it was interesting that not the girls, not Steph, but she chose to bust Blaine's balls, as if he had balls to bust. But I think you're right. You say things you wouldn't normally say when you're nervous around someone you like. That makes sense.
And also, is she maybe feeling a lot more comfortable now? She doesn't like school. She's in the record store with her friend Annie Potts.
That's true. She's on her home turf.
Yeah, it's like, you come in here, it's just different from the school hallways. I can be a bit of a dickhead.
That's good film analysis, boys. That's good film analysis. Well, that night, Andy hangs out with her friends Jenna and Simon. Do you guys recognize Simon?
Dweezil Zappa.
Running Man's Dweezil Zappa. Don't touch that dial.
Yeah, totally did not.
Who was dating Ringwald at the time of making this movie. And if you look in the record store, there's a big Dweezil Zappa album behind her, the register. So she was trying to get her boyfriend a little bit of...
I just checked the IMDb notes on it. It said that, I'm going to say Howard Dutch just because it's easier, that him and John Hughes had envisioned a square-jawed jockey kind of guy for Blaine. And Ringwald said she, I guess, had some say in the casting.
Right.
And she said she wasn't attracted to that sort of guy. And they had both referred, the word they used was twerpy, was what they thought of.
Young
McCarthy.
Mr. Potato Head. I'm here. I was reading the script out in the hallway, and yeah.
No.
Well, they go to a music club called Cats. She asked Jenna, as they listen to like a rockabilly or ska band play, she asked Jenna if she'd ever date a guy who had money. And Jenna looks at Andy like she said, would you ever date a Nazi? Like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, what, are you like a rich guy? Like, it's like the worst thing you could... I just do not remember it being that heavy-handed.
I don't either.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
they're really building up the class war.
No, I remember there was a class war going on then. I felt it in high school, but it wasn't.
This is like Israel and the Palestine.
Yeah, it wasn't like, would you ever date a Palestinian?
No,
what?
But I mean, Hughes makes this a kind of a pivotal thing in all of his movies. I mean, 16 Candles.
Breakfast Club was coming
Ryan
together.
Shoffling's character is the rich guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he tells the guy, "Hey, take my dad's car home. It's a Rolls Royce."
Yeah.
And she doesn't. She's over there, and Ringwald's character in that is I just want to get a car.
Yeah.
I want my, And then you go to Breakfast Club
where
she's
is
playing
the rich girl.
Ferris Bueller, whose dad is concerned with this fancy sports car, and that doesn't mean anything to Ferris. It's the difference between the father and the son and their approaches to wealth. Yeah, you're right. There's some stuff there. Well, Andy can't help it, despite the financial differences. She can't get the dreamy Blaine off her mind. But waiting for her outside, as we get the idea he always is where she goes, is poor old Ducky, who's scarfing down potato chips as he gets love advice from the one and only chain-smoking Dice Man, Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh!
Love is a bitch, Doug. Love is a bitch, Doug. Love is a bitch.
Let me tell you something.
You guys Dice fans?
Yes.
Sucking my dick, Tracy.
Sucking my dick, Tracy. I even liked him in Entourage, man. Fast forward, 30, 40 years.
You're the guy to watch that, huh?
Yes, I did. I liked it. Dice was in it. It was Dice's comeback.
Like you're taking demerits.
It's funny. Alamo Drafthouse here in Texas got some shit by losers. They did a women's only screening of Wonder Woman, and all these guys were like threatening to sue them. Like, that's discrimination. You can't show a women's only movie. They're like, you're right, but in our defense, we did show Entourage. Dickhead.
I'll understand that joke now.
It's basically what man would go see that movie? Did you see the Entourage movie?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Yet. I'm a big Turtle fan.
We need to do a Ford Fairlane podcast.
Hey,
Ford Fairlane would be awesome.
real quick on Dice Man, I was a huge Andrew Dice Clay fan from the first time I got exposed to him.
Hickory Dickory Dock.
Big Ford Fairlane fan.
Big
Yes.
Fairlane fan.
When I was in middle school, I couldn't buy his comedy tapes because they were 18 and over. They had the big sticker on them.
Censor.
So I actually traded a friend of ours, Big Brother, my Nintendo system. In exchange, I gave him my whole Nintendo system. In exchange, he went to he went to the mall to Hastings. Name rhymes with John Lowrance. I know what I'm talking about. He bought me like 4 Andrew Dice Clay concert cassettes, a Dennis Miller cassette, and like 2 Sam Kinison. Like I got like 100.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah, I got
That's
like-
actually a pretty good deal.
I got like a handful of dirty comedy because that's what I wanted more than anything, and I gave him a Nintendo for it. It's the best deal I ever made in my life.
I think that was actually pretty good. As a gamer, as a hardcore gamer, I still think that's a
I
good
sucked at
idea.
video games, and I knew that those comedy tapes would serve me much more.
So where was this in the Dice pantheon?
early,
I mean,
early,
is this
early,
like
early.
before all that stuff?
Oh yes,
or-
yeah.
Okay.
He was not.
So he wasn't
a
Hickory
public figure.
Dickory Dockin' at this
Nobody,
point in time.
nobody
Okay.
knew who he was.
Yeah, I
at
don't even
this
think
point.
he was 30 years old even.
Yeah, but I love how they show him as he's a bouncer, because as a bouncer you just sit outside. It's not Roadhouse. It's sitting on a stool by yourself for hours at a time. They show him practicing his moves, his lighter,
His lighters.
smoking a cigarette. Like
No!
it makes no sense in the context of this film. Like
But
what's with
Dice,
this guy?
that's him.
But
man.
that's him, and he's not on screen very much, but I love it
Could
when
he
he is.
could he use more Dice Man, actually?
Yes,
Yeah,
this
I
movie
think-
could
I
have
think
used
so.
way more Dice.
But it's interesting because, in hindsight, I know of Dice more than this film. So when I watch the film, I'm like, oh, that's Dice being Dice. It's interesting that you say that when you watch this, for the first time in the 80s, you didn't know who Dice was.
No, and I love that they let him use his name.
And other than not letting Ducky in, he's actually being
He's pretty
kind of
cool
nice
with
to
him.
him,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
really, as the film goes on, seems harder and harder to imagine anyone being nice
Correct.
to Ducky.
We're going to talk a lot about the misperception of Ducky. Our memories are very
Pain in the
different
ass.
than the reality of Ducky.
Yeah.
I love Ducky. Don't you talk bad about Ducky.
Oh, well, then you might want to leave.
I will defend Ducky to death.
As Andy gives Ducky a ride home, they drive past a bunch of mansions. Andy remarks how beautiful they are, and Ducky tells her, if you want to see something beautiful, just look in the mirror. To which Dice Man pops up in the back seat, like, how about you sit on the mirror? Oh! No, he's not. He's not in the back seat.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome, but he no. He stayed at the club. Well, she wonders. She wonders what the homes are like on the inside. She's fascinated by them, like a zoo
I
exhibit.
wonder what you're like on the inside. Oh!
That's gonna last all night.
But you know what? She says I'm very talented. She's like, I bet the people that live in those mansions don't think they're half as pretty as I do. So she's kind of got this elitist, prejudiced. It's going both ways.
Yeah.
She's making broad strokes.
They
of,
really
Most-
do a lot of that it goes
no,
both
they,
ways.
I
Most
have a feeling
prejudice-
they had a chart, and they're like, all right, we're getting too much rich against poor. Let's go to Andy's side of town and
Poor against
balance
rich.
it out. The script is very balanced that way.
Prejudice runs 2 ways, man.
Well, the next day in the school library, Andy's clacking away at an early 80s like IBM personal computer.
Commodore
This-
64.
This one
No, it's
completely
an
just
Apple II.
reminded me of Revenge of the
Really
Nerds.
there. This was a common thing in 80s movies where
I looked at-
some girl's working at a computer and all of a sudden a guy hacks in and starts talking to her.
the moment that you texted that we were doing Pretty in the Pink, Pretty in the Pink.
Pretty in the Pink.
That's a different movie. Oh!
The moment you texted Pretty in Pink, my wife saw that and she was like, "I'm watching this with you." I normally don't watch movies with my wife.
I'm surprised she didn't own the movie.
TNCC
I'm surprised she
movies.
didn't own the movie.
She owns the soundtrack.
Oh, of course.
We listen to it ad nauseum. But anyway, so we were sitting there watching this, and I look over her at this scene, and I'm like, it's like every kid in the 80s knew how to hack into other computers.
Correct.
And do just like
Pre-internet.
outlandish shit.
Pre-internet.
And it wasn't creepy back then. Now it's a problem. You had to
Back
do a
then,
computer, send
back-
some anonymous messages, and all of a sudden you're under
That's why the
indictment.
doctor's no longer allowed at the public library.
Well, that and other reasons.
Well, other
Back then, it
reasons.
was romantic.
Well, she
Talk from afar.
Well, he's like, can we talk? And she's like, I'm busy, Ducky. She just assumes it's Ducky. He's the only boy that talks to her.
And a pain in the
Who's
ass.
Ducky? And finally, a little back and forth, she's like, all right, who is this? This pixelated dot matrix photograph
It's-
of her pops up on the screen. And she's like, oh, I've never seen a picture of myself on a computer screen. And then it like depixelates and kind of swirls into the world's worst mugshot of Blaine. And she's like, oh, it's him, my dreamboat.
Which,
And
by
then
the
he
way,
comes
was
up
like,
from behind the bookcase, like, and she's like, oh, she swoons.
which
Again,
is like,
I tried that maneuver to Barnes & Noble last week, and I was thrown out of the store.
and if you're probably went slower, your picture probably pixelated slower than what this did 30 years ago.
And that didn't help that she was
I'm
also
sorry,
a high
I
school girl.
worked on this program with a million lines of basic.
It
I
was
planned-
kinda- it
I
was
planned
kinda-
it out weeks in advance.
It was kind of fun to see old basic DOS up there, and I was like, I remember
Well,
that.
it's something that I think we can all agree no high school kid could do back then. It made no sense. But
Not unless you're in war games. That
But-
kid,
but
Kid
it,
rocked.
it swept her off her feet. Meanwhile, back at Andy's house,
Wait, but this scene actually bothered me.
it was very
for
Revenge
one-
of the Nerds, though.
Well, yes, it was. But
Lewis does the exact same
You know,
bit.
they have that scene on the
Gilbert.
computer screen. He's like,
Gilbert, I'm
"Do
sorry.
you want to talk?" And then they both rise up and they see each other and then they cut.
They
and you're like, "What did they talk about?"
No, they didn't talk about anything because he's put all his energy. He's not a high energy guy. He put it all into that program.
But I'm like, there was a conversation.
Have
I
you
felt,
seen those floppy disks? They're this big.
I felt
You had
that
to
there was a-
load it. I put that latch down to make sure it stayed in there.
don't touch your finger on the ribbon.
I'm tired, Andy. I'm tired.
there was just from this scene. All of a sudden, like after this, it's like they're dating.
I'm going to get to that. Give me a minute because there's a huge jump in comfort level between the two of them very soon. We'll talk about that. Back at Andy's house, Ducky's sitting outside with, as I said, the original drunk dad, Jack, Andy's dad, as he sips some Budweisers before his big job interview at the factory. Ducky asked for Jack's permission to marry Andy someday. Says he wants to take care of her. And Jack tells Ducky the sad truth of life, one of the many sad truths of life, as we know here in the Corner No Hope. Just because you love someone doesn't mean they have to love you back. I loved Andy's mom. The one day she just split. Poof, she was gone.
Someday you're going to end up sitting in a vinyl lawn chair at 2 in the afternoon, smoking Barrett cigarettes and drinking Budweiser.
Soak it in, kid. Soak it in.
I remember one summer break, my girlfriend Brenda went to Paris and hooked up with
damn
Dean
it.
Cain.
No,
She hooked up with Dean Cain straight out of Wisconsin, came back.
I don't know. After the cross-eyed baboon stuff, I'm kind of enjoying this better.
Is this working for you?
No, it's not working. It's just kind of an either or.
Which I will say that in this scene, Dean knocks it out of the park. I could totally believe him sitting there.
Dean Cain stole my girl, so
Well, I just have a...
ended up sleeping with Kelly Taylor at the
Man,
beach house.
For me, it was one of those scenes that was, I won't say it was painful to watch.
Dude, we're on two different wavelengths here. It worked
Yeah.
for me. Work for you, yes?
Hey, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Nasty
what's
viewpoints.
funny is that I'm agreeing.
He
I
seemed
think
like
I'm
a
in your
sad, beaten down man that maybe if you didn't know Harry Dean Stanton as an actor, may have had some more weight on him and a little more backbone 10 years earlier when he was in his marriage. To me, he looked like a shell of a guy hurt by love beyond repair, and now all he does is drink. But he's not a bitter drunk.
No,
He's
not
a
big
sad drunk, but he's still nice and warm. I thought he nailed it.
I disagree with a lot of Dean's
I like what you're
character
saying.
on this, but I do
like
like,
it.
him in this scene.
All right,
The rest of it, I
three
think,
against
is
one,
just
Doc. Three
bleh.
against one.
Just in this scene. I'm back on your side in the next one.
We'll get back
Hey,
to
that's-
we'll get back to Brenda and Dean Cain in Paris later.
A divergence of opinions is good.
Anywho, spoiler alert: Jack does not get the factory job. Imagine that. After his third warm-up beer. Well, across town at the record store, Blaine puts on his best Don Johnson blazer and stops
Wait, who
in.
goes up to the girl's dad like when the girl's not at home and
That's
be
why
like,
Ducky
"Hey,
is.
guess what? I'm
that's
gonna
why
marry your-"
Ducky's so quirky and the girls like him. He does things that nobody would do. He's crazy like that.
No, he's
An annoying-
totally
he's
in
an
love
annoying
with her.
piece of shit.
He's totally in love with her.
No, there's nothing more dangerous than
no,
a man
he's
with nothing
not
to
in love with her.
He is in love with her.
No, he is not. He is in love with the version of her that he thinks she is.
No, he loves her.
Insight from the axe.
Tut, there's nothing more dangerous than a man with nothing to lose.
And I'll combat that at the end of this movie.
All right.
The
Well,
whole end of this movie reinforces my point.
I agree with you. Good insight.
But the
How about
end of
we-
this movie isn't the original end of
How
the
about we
movie.
get to the end of this movie by talking about where we are now in the movie?
Oh, okay.
We can do that.
Blaine puts on his
Or we could
best.
just save a bunch of time and just cut to the
Blaine puts on his best Don Johnson blazer and heads over to the record store to put his sheepish charms to work on Andy. But a security alarm starts going off in the back of the store. Cock-blocking Ducky set off an alarm to get her attention. Didn't know he was cock-blocking. He's an asshole. So she runs back there.
He is pretty fucking
But again, though,
annoying.
these are the things that get me in trouble now. Sending anonymous emails, showing up where the
Well-
chick works.
well,
I mean, this gets me in trouble.
Well, Blaine ends
it
up
was charming then.
Blaine ends up splitting.
God, he's here again.
Well, our good friend
Our good friend
Steph.
Steph walks in with a cigarette. Like, Blaine, if we're gonna shoot guns, we got to get going.
no,
so
that,
Well, that was
I-
actually the one thing. Like, hey man, if we're gonna get this skeet going, we got to. I was like,
he says
what teenagers go to shoot skeet?
So he says we're gonna.
Steph.
He says we're gonna
Steph.
shoot trap.
Richie's.
yeah, trap skeet shooting.
Is that what that meant?
Yes.
See, I was out of touch. I was like, what does shoot trap mean? I want to do it.
No, unless
trap
it's
is
just
the
you
thing.
know,
Again, like Commando, a good place for hunt and slash.
Yeah, it was a hunt and slash. It was a rope dig dog.
It's one of those things you're like, what does that mean?
He's like, if we're gonna shoot, we better get rolling.
Filipino whores? What are they doing here?
Shoot trap.
No, it's skeet shooting.
All right.
So he steals them away. She comes
Cooler,
back.
really.
But that's what the rich people do.
She finally gets Ducky under control in the back. By the time she comes out, Blaine's gone. So the next day,
and you can tell she's visibly upset.
she's visibly upset. So the next day, Blaine makes his way out to the poor kids section of the playground at high school where they're doing their lunch
looking
break.
like a fish out of water, and everybody's like looking at him like, "What are you doing here, preppy?"
He literally
Well,
looked
first
like
of all, everyone out in that playground is 30 years old.
well, and the other
they
thing
are.
is, it really looked like he just walked into the prison
yard.
He really did.
They're lifting weights. They're
Smoking cigarettes.
doing coke.
They smoke so much in this
You
high
want-
school.
you wanted to
it's
look like that. I mean,
everywhere they
literally.
go.
There's like like guys, it's like the Crips and the Bloods. They're like, what?
Well, did you also
Fresh
notice
meat.
when you start walking out there, they started playing the Pretty in Pink psychedelic first theme song for the fourth time in the first 30 minutes of the film.
Hey man, you spend that much
Spend
for
the money on the
soundtrack,
song, we
man,
gotta do
might
it.
as well Get it.
Well, she's all smiles.
Psychedelic furs didn't come cheap back in
No,
those
it did
days.
not. Well, she's all smiles until he asks, "So, where do you live?" Uh-oh. Sore spot. Rather than tell him she lives on the other side of the track, she agrees to go out.
Damascus.
She agrees to go out with Simple Simon, but she's like, "You need to pick me up at work."
You know that train that you've seen like 4 times in this movie already? I live
Wait.
on the other side of
I live
that.
on the other side of the tracks. Wait, we have tracks in this town?
Well, of course, none of this sits well with Steph, who's slinking around the high school hallways in his cotton suit, spying on Blaine's every move as he smokes in
Smoking
the hallways.
hallway.
First of all, have you guys? He's smoking in the hallways. The girls are smoking in gym class. The girls are smoking in the bathrooms.
There's so
openly.
much smoking going
Well,
on
you
in
just
this
said
school.
that. Was it? I guess it has to be somewhat accurate, or else people in the '80s would watch this and be like, that doesn't.
That wasn't
I
accurate in
remember
my
that
school.
when we started at Temple High, they had an outdoor smoking section.
Did they?
But
did.
nobody was allowed. I think it was old. Were you able to use it then by the time we got into school?
I don't think so.
No.
But
Nah.
that's what it
Well,
used to be.
In my day, you went out behind the
No,
ag building and
it-
hoped that Mr. Kearns didn't
If
catch
you were an 18,
There was a row of trees behind the art class that we used to go behind.
If you were an 18-year-old, you could smoke.
In
They
the ca-
couldn't
in your
stop
car
you.
and on the
Right.
parking
They
lot.
couldn't stop you.
But you couldn't go into class with the
No,
cigarette.
Spader's putting it out on his shoe on the floor of the hallway.
But I just love the fact that he's in an all-white suit, like Colonel Sanders. You know, just like, look how well I'm doing.
Well, he tells Blaine, you know what? You want to converse with a mutant, that's your problem, but there's just nothing to this girl. Real quick, we're getting into the goods here. I'm approaching the pink band. I think everybody's about halfway.
Yeah.
We're getting there. I've got like a vanilla latte, like a Starbucks vanilla latte, like a light creamy coffee, which was new. I didn't get that early on. It was more woodsy. Now I'm getting a coffee, a vanilla and a coffee, but the spice has maintained.
I would say it's more of a frappuccino, maybe a tall iced doppio.
I don't know what that is. But are you getting a
Iced
coffee?
doppio?
I'm getting cream.
Doppio.
Cream?
It's incredible. It's very heavy
Creamy.
cream.
I can get a little bit of that vanilla. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't pick up on that, but I get a little of the vanilla there.
See that-
I haven't had to relight it once, and it stayed like this the whole
The
time.
spice for me has picked up in the retrohale. I'm getting much more pepper on the nose, which
Absolutely.
is nice.
Absolutely.
That was not there for a while.
Yeah.
I like when shit
And it's a light one too.
ebbs
It's
and flows.
not.
When it comes back and
and it's a light presence. It's not a heavy.
It was cedary, that woodsy cedar and cream.
See, that's
for a
what's
while.
weird is that we're like at the same spot, and I'm finally getting into the woodsy part of it, to where I've got the woodsy and the cedar going on with that spider, like you said, on the retro hell. I'm missing out on the cream and the vanilla that you guys are talking about.
But you're still getting that spice on the
Oh,
nose.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Anytime you get the spice with the cream, that's just such a yin and yang. I like it when they can play together like that. But you can appreciate both. All right, so vanilla, coffee, cedar, spice on the nose. That spice, which I think is was it the peyote, the Lajero that he
Peyote.
What's the name of it? Piloto. The Piloto Lajero. Dominican Piloto Cabano
Yeah.
is what he had told us had the bite
did
and the
what?
spice. Which I think he kind of was like, that's what's going to keep this thing to a guy that's not a Connecticut smoker. And so far that's proving true.
Robert, next time we meet, I want to get like just a roll of that Piloto, just straight up.
He asks
raw
everybody we do a
Piloto.
cigar, just give me this component.
Well, because I mean, it's like
You say he's almost as needy as Ducky.
I don't want to be like a
you don't know the half of it.
Skip fanboy, but he made a point to where, like, if you're familiar enough with the tobacco leaf, then you know how a blend's going to turn out just by, I think that's yours, just by tasting it.
Yeah.
I want to learn what that tastes like, the Piloto tastes like. That's yours.
Well, we got spoiled with the Black Label,
The James Brown taste.
Seminar where we got to taste all the components, and then you find one you like, and all of a sudden every cigar you smoke, you're like, I want to see this broken down into.
Right.
Well, we're never going to get that, but
But
it'd be nice. It'd be nice. Maybe if we go down to Nicaragua one day, Robert will hook you up with some Dominican Piloto.
As I shove him out of the way to meet AJ.
Oh, I think it's shove him out of the way and just stick your face in the Piloto leaves, like Scarface. Just
All of a sudden, he's like, Kevin Nash is my brother, power bomb.
It's complex. It's a complex Connecticut. I mean, it's going different places.
It actually really is, and it's not a powerhouse on the power side at all.
Not at all.
It's probably one of the first mild to medium cigars that I've really thought is interesting.
That's high praise. Good deal. I do find it interesting, and I'm digging it. And
Because we've had other
I hate to say this,
we've had other Connecticut's that have been mild that I haven't really liked, and then we've had Connecticut's like this year that have been like medium to strong in a Connecticut wrapper that I've loved.
Yeah.
This is the first kind of like mild one that it's got some stuff going on to it. It's not just like Cody said, mild. What flavor is that? Mild.
I can't believe I'm about to say this. I kind of agree with Tud as far as the beer pairing. The beer,
we went with something because we didn't want to overpower the cigar.
That piney kind of bite on the back end. It's not a bitterness, but it's a bite on the back end.
And it separates the beer from the cigar.
It's kind of, whenever I take a drink of the beer, it's killing whatever I've got going on with the cigar. Briefly, just for a second.
Yeah.
So I'm tending to do the cigar and then just back and forth, as opposed to they're not marrying well together.
Well, see, that's one.
But I don't know what would marry well with this cigar.
Actually, I think something that highlights that
Belgian?
cream is good. Oh, a Belgian would be good. Actually, a triple might be good because you got the floral notes of the triple, but you don't have that bite of the IPUs
Correct.
coming in there and masking it. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. See, that's one of the things that I was thinking of. You know, when you described the beer that you wanted to pair with this, you know, a beer that's not going to, you know, interfere with the cigar, a beer that's, for lack of a better words, we basically went into this trying to find a beer that would hide away from the cigar. We wanted to taste the cigar's
this beer
body.
has a little more presence, just slightly on the back end. It's a good beer, though. I do like the beer. It's going down smooth.
But
Doc, you like the beer?
It's not doing a lot for me. It's I don't.
It's not making an impression.
I don't dislike. Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, but
it doesn't really.
But once again, it is what it is. It's a golden ale. It's light. It is, which is it's what we look for. We look for something light because we didn't want to overpower the cigar.
Right.
But after having the cigar, I'm sitting here thinking, you know, I would tend to go something more, you know, like Belgian. I might go to a European style IPA.
Yeah.
Just to get something a little more flavorful, something more citrus and floral.
Yeah.
But not with you know, a lesser IBU. Like
That's
you
why
said.
I think the triple would just actually probably kill on this cigar. because you got a lot of the floral notes on there, but you don't have a lot of the citrus and the hops kicking in it.
But then again, I also might, just from how the cream on this cigar, I might try a porter.
You had actually mentioned that earlier when we were looking for beers. Like, we might want to go outside, or what we think is the right way to go.
That was what he was doing. He wanted to do the alternate, the other side of the tracks beer.
Other side of the tracks porter.
And I'm like, good God, man, the amount of beers we've gone through already, and how hard it's getting to find new beers.
Yeah,
I can't do a 2-beer show.
52 episodes in, we're really we're like archaeologists. We've dug and dug.
Tonight, Lone Star. I keep waiting for that on Diners,
one question
Drive-Ins,
before we get back to the movie on the
Arby's.
cigar construction. Has anyone had to relight?
I did once.
No,
I haven't.
No,
I'm
I
really
did
impressed
one
with that.
because I was talking so damn much. That's me.
That was the same way
Burn
with
Line,
me. It was
though,
coming.
is
It was coming after the
absolutely-
break.
Man, I'll give them credit where credit is due. They never have a construction issue.
Yeah.
I'm halfway through. We'll come back to it. Let me know if you get that vanilla. That really is changing it up for me. There's a brief scene now in Andy's bedroom that night where she and Ducky are studying on the bed.
Brief scene in the bedroom.
Oh, how brief! Tell you where I like my briefs on the floor. Oh, she and Ducky are studying.
Our
And
millennials are going, what?
they don't know who Dice is. Well, she runs her fingers through Ducky's hair and wonders aloud what she'll ever do after graduation when she won't see him every day.
Cock teeth.
And how can she possibly be the only girl who sees how special he is?
Oh, you special in what way?
Well,
Bitch.
What a cock tease.
Agreed.
she knows how much he loves her at this point.
I know. I don't know if she does. Well,
No,
yeah,
she doesn't.
She does. She does.
I don't
She
think
just
no.
He is firmly
She's just a
in the
bad
friend
girl.
zone.
She's a bad girl.
He's constantly though saying overt "I love you" things without saying "I love you," but she's just not hearing.
If you want to
Yes,
see
but
something
girls
beautiful,
love-
look in the mirror. I
Teenage
mean, come
girls
on, that's
love
pretty overt.
praise.
I think she
Teenage girls love the bad boy and that which they cannot.
Whether she
attain.
knows it or not, it's a fucking bitch.
Let me
move.
tell you, Tut. Bad boy only gets you so far.
Exactly. Well, no, come on, man. In the 80s, a 45-year-old in a high school TV deal was like the heartthrob. Come on.
I resemble that remark.
You do resemble that remark.
I just thought my first thought was Yak Boys. What a cock tease, God! And she's our hero.
As annoying as John Cryer is in this, I'm pro Ducky. I am Team Ducky.
Yeah, but once again,
No, no,
I'm
no.
going to go back to my original hypothesis. Ducky doesn't love her. He loves a stylized version of her.
Hold on. By the end of this, you guys are going to hate Ducky. Trust me. Just so we don't forget.
I already do.
Just so we don't forget the class warfare.
By the way, I had those John Lennon glasses.
thread in our story. I don't
totally
doubt.
see that.
I don't doubt that.
I could see
by
that
any
completely.
The next day in gym class, Andy and her friend Jenna get into it again with the rich girls, who this time
And I did have a mullet.
This time, the rich girls are joined by the insanely gorgeous Gina Gershon. You talk about how she didn't become a bigger movie star. I'll never know.
Well, she was
Because
in-
every time she's on the screen in the movie,
Give her credit if this is one of her first roles because she doesn't really do anything or say much. She's just there to look hot. She's had a 30-year career in
Yeah.
film and television.
I just always thought it should be bigger.
She was in
she's,
season.
she's,
she was.
Oh! I'll show you something bigger. Oh!
She was in season 2 of How to Make It in America. She was.
She's in everything.
She was basically like a MILF. She had put on some, age weight, but God, she still looked gorgeous.
I just
I
remember.
thought she still looked good in Red Oaks. She still looks good.
Remember Red Heat?
Yeah. Oh, Cocktail?
Oh, Cocktail.
She's a fucking gorgeous
Photographer.
woman.
She's
fucking
just
knockout.
such a unique woman. I'm going to say this. I'm going to get shit for it. She always reminded me of a blue-collar American Sophia Loren. Just that face. Every time I see Gina Gershon's face, and she always had curves, I always thought she was so, like, how did she not get that breakout role where she was the star? Anyway.
Yeah, I don't
This is
know
her only
because-
scene in the movie, so I'm not going to dwell on it.
Yeah, because I don't know.
She shows
because
up in the background a couple of times.
she has those eyes that just say, "Here I am."
Yeah.
They choose screen.
Yeah. Matt Cade eyes.
Andrew
Who
McCarthy
said
eyes.
that? Who said Matt
You
Cade
said
eyes?
it. Matt Cade said Matt Cade
As
eyes.
opposed to Andrew McCarthy eyes.
Who is he looking at?
They get sent to
Tip of his nose.
Well, because they get into it with these girls, Andy gets sent to the sympathetic principal's office. You can tell he was a real loser back in high school, so he relates to him. And he feeds her this bit of wisdom: don't ever date a boy with crossed eyes, as he might be seeing someone else on the side.
That was not a line in the movie.
He didn't say that.
He may as well have.
He said this. If you put out signals that you don't want to belong, Andy, people will make sure that you don't.
That is true.
It's wise.
That's very true.
Wise words. Seriously, though, did you hear about the teacher who was cross-eyed at the high school? He couldn't control his pupils.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh boy.
Kill me.
Editor's note.
Kill
Start chugging these summer loves about as fast as they can go down.
Summer
now.
loving, baby. Summer loving. I'm going to skip over this note that I made because we talked about earlier just how many fucking kids smoke in this high school.
Well, it was funny
Their
because
high school looks like this.
Well, what's funny is that she responds actually because I kind of chuckled at the response. He was like,
That's a nice theory.
Yeah, she was like, that's a nice theory, and I'm like, honey,
But I'm late for smoking class.
that is not a theory.
Sometimes principals know things.
I'm just saying that's
I'm just
not
really
a theory.
surprised that they're
I
not
would
using
know. I
cigarettes
never-
as currency in this high
I
school.
wouldn't know. I never got sent to the principal's office. So.
I remember we were at a pipeline party in the woods of East Texas, and there was this younger brother of a friend of ours who went off to Colorado, and then he comes back and he's just pierced all over himself. He looks so damn different, and he made the remark of, everybody's treating me so different, like I'm an outsider. I grew up in this town. I don't understand why people are treating me this way. And one corn-fed
Did you pull
friend,
out a magnet? Suck everything off his face?
one corn-fed friend of mine just looked at him and goes, "Look at you. Look at you compared to everybody else here." He goes, "I'm not saying you're a bad guy because I know you and I grew up with you. You're not." He was like, "But you don't look like anybody else here." And
I don't
if they
know, man. If
know
you're at
you-
a pipeline party in the East Texas woods, maybe you shouldn't pass judgment so fast.
It's like when the doctor started wearing that romper for a while. It's like, Doc,
Come on, Doc,
on,
you're
Doc.
wearing a romper.
what was the diaper that I...
I
Well, not necessarily the diaper, the fact that I had to change it. That
like to try new things.
Granted, I got the most experience. Well, that night as Andy waits at the record store for Blaine to pick her up,
You fucking liked it.
he's late picking her up because obviously he gets a little lost looking at maps with those cross eyes. Was it left or right? I don't know. Well, Ducky bursts in right as Otis Redding's Try a Little Tenderness comes on the stereo, and he proceeds to lip sync the whole damn song, gyrating around the store like a goddamn imbecile, rolling around.
James Corbin style.
Yes.
That
idiot.
And this all.
But you know what? Chicks love, they watch the shit out of those clips on YouTube. Like, it's so funny. He drives around a car lip syncing. No, it's not funny. It's stupid. It's dumb shit to keep your mind numb from what's really going on in the world.
And it worked.
They live, you sleep. Thanks, James Corbin, or whatever your name is. Stupid ass.
Cody was about to say something pointed and just said, "Fuck this."
What are you going to say?
I don't know. You're obviously on your
I'm sorry.
tirade over there.
I'm sorry.
a little
They-
angry.
They're watching. I did go off big time on
Tone it down there.
Go on. Talk about the cross-eyed some more.
He's flailing around the store, lip syncing to Otis Redding. The girls are just watching him. Not surprised. They've seen it before. But we all know that's not how you win a woman's heart, by acting like an idiot. You win it by being a drunken idiot and lifting heavy things over your head, starting fights. And yeah.
Johnny Lawrence style, man. Kick some nerd in the stomach. That's how you win a girl.
Well,
Kick his ass, Johnny.
It's so true.
I think I remember finding Ducky a very endearing character in hindsight when watching this flick when I was younger. I know I did, actually. Everybody loves Ducky. When we saw him, like, Ducky! But now I just want to kick him square in the
he
fucking
annoyed
nuts.
the piss out of me. And that
Every
scene
time
is painful to watch.
every time he shows up on screen, I want to kick him in the balls.
That scene's painful.
But I also put that into gaining perspective by age. When
True.
we were that age, we could identify with Ducky.
Yeah,
There-
he still loves him.
I'm saying in this scene, Ducky is trying so damn hard. He's just trying so damn hard. Instead of just coming out and saying, you know what? I love you. You are my world.
Well,
he's just trying.
The one
so
good
damn
thing in
hard.
this scene, Iona, the Annie Potts character, who, by the way,
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
She dresses up every time we see her. She's dressed up in a
Something different,
costume,
yeah.
a Japanese wig, a punk rock wig, a '50s wig. I love her in this. Anyway, she calls Ducky a twerp in the scene, which is a word I have not heard in decades, and I'm going to use it from now on. If anything I got from this scene, I'm going to start using twerp more, which shouldn't be hard sitting with you guys every 2 weeks, surrounded by twerps.
Ouch.
You won't be sitting with me any much longer.
All right, well, let's talk more.
Can I get on the Wednesday night wrestling roundup?
Yeah.
The person that's a twerp is the one that uses the word.
You're a twerp. You're not. I'm sorry.
That's right. That's right. I'm not.
We're going to talk more about the Duckster as we go on. Well, Andy's just about given up on Blaine when he finally presses his doughy pale face against the door. And
Again, things I do now that get me in trouble.
But hey, she's elated. He showed. Andy finally exhales, and we can literally hear Ducky in the background's heart just break into a million sharp, jagged pieces and shit out of his ass. Dude, you literally... I'll give Cryer that. That one look he gives, you can literally see inside his chest, his heart just... not melting.
Just shatters. That
Splittering.
fault line crack, and then all of a sudden it just slips down and
So
just
then he
shatters.
does what all obsessive psychos do, and he quietly tucks his hand into his vintage pants and walks off into the night. No, he does not do that.
I was going to say, that is not what psychos do.
He goes
I know.
crazy. He lashes out at Andy big time, telling her Blaine just shits all over everybody. He's going to shit all over you. Oh! How do I get in on that?
You gotta pay extra for that. Oh!
No, Dice Man's not there. He says Blaine is going to use her up and spit her out, and when Ducky, I would die for you.
And that's...
Andy says, that's Pure Lifetime movie. Andy says Blaine isn't like that, and if she doesn't go out with him because he has money, it's the same as the swells not liking us because we don't have money. Well, Ducky's full-blown crazy at this point. He tells her she can't respect herself after this. You're not going to respect yourself in the morning. I live to like you, and I can't like you anymore after this ultimate betrayal. For God's sake, he says, Blaine is the name of an appliance, not a person. That's the first right thing he said, because there's a deleted scene on the DVD where Blaine actually lifts his shirt and gets some ice out of his ice cube dispenser in his chest.
I don't
He is an
think that
appliance. He is an appliance.
I don't think that's actually it happened at all.
He's a dud. Come on.
didn't
Anyhow,
say that he wasn't.
I've seen washing machines
said
with more
he's not
personality
a
than this
ice
guy.
maker.
Okay.
When Blaine was sick as a child, they called the Maytag repairman to come, not a doctor. The Duckman ends it with this: when you wake up to find your heart splattered all over hell and feel low and dirty, I won't be there to pump you back up, because the first time in your life, I won't be there.
That was inaccurate.
And he's screaming it.
That was inaccurate. He should have said, when he gets through with you, I'll be there, just like I always have been. I'm sorry. When he said,
But
when he said, I would die for you, all of a sudden that sound you heard was my heart breaking.
All the girls, your wife included, love Ducky.
No, she loves Andrew McCarthy.
I'm going to put you in touch with a lawyer. When we met him in Vegas, the first thing we thought was Ducky. I've seen enough Lifetime movies to know a deranged homicidal wacko when I see one. This meltdown was epic, and it was scary. If you watch this
Oh, yeah, he was...
there's nothing sweet and endearing about it. If I was Andy, I'd start carrying a gun in my vintage purse, and I'd carry a smaller gun in my vintage boots, because this guy's coming after me and killing my ass.
And this is the scene at which he breaks.
He goes too far.
He put her on a pedestal, and that is the point at which she took herself off the pedestal.
It's just a temporary setback.
Well, no, in reality, this is a good thing, because he didn't, well, like I said, he didn't love her. He loved this stylized version. She could do no wrong. She walked all over him,
You're
and
saying
he just...
he loved the idea of who she was?
That's right.
And it's really a great point by Axe. Being a lifelong single man myself, I am guilty. I don't know if you guys have ever done this in your life, whether you go back to being a teenager or any other point. I am guilty of projecting an image onto somebody of liking the idea of someone.
Yeah, I think we've all
and
done that. Yeah.
and then being disappointed when they didn't live up to the fantasy idea that I had in my head.
But all she did was go on a date with someone else. He didn't catch her like strangling kittens, or she did a totally normal teenage function. He's so deranged that he never considered that as an option.
That's what's weird because I identify a lot with Ducky.
That I do understand, and I do believe.
When he actually he's got her on a pedestal, and so when she goes out with this guy, he can't imagine that the idea of this the idea that he has, the idea that he's in love with, would ever go out with this guy. It ruins the image that he's in love with.
I don't think that. I think he's like questioning why would she go out with this preppy dude when, like he said, I would die for you. I worship the ground you walk on.
But you don't get that. That's what crazy people say. You're still like, yeah, he was laying it all out there. He's way to go, Ducky. That's what people get restraining orders for.
Well, nowadays, but in the 80s, it's called romance.
No, I'm fairly certain it was the same thing back then, too.
A lot of things flew in the 80s that are felonies now.
Oh, I miss
Boy,
the
you
80s.
ain't just whistling Dixie, brother.
Make a movie where they show teenage girls naked in a shower. I mean, who would do that?
There's
John Hughes.
There's an 80s sitcom star on trial for like 60 rapes right now because it was dropping Quaaludes in drinks was no problem in the 80s.
No, that was wrong in the 80s.
I think
then.
that was still a problem.
Yeah, I think so too.
TNCC is anti-Bill Cosby.
We are not anti-Quaalude, just anti-Bill Cosby.
I do like,
I'd like to
Cosby
drop him in
dance.
my own drink. I'm sorry.
There's nothing wrong with that. As they walk out of the record store, Ducky obviously storms off.
Might liven up this summer love a little bit.
The big charmer Blaine asks Andy, do you want to go home and change clothes before our big date? To which he's like, I already did that.
Ouch.
And he recovers nicely with a... Did I capture it well?
Can you imagine saying
You were
that?
pretty accurate.
Can you imagine?
Oh,
that
you-
would be such a killer of anything.
Wow, are you going out in that? Are we going out in that? You want to change?
No, we're not going out in this.
Well, she's like,
Later.
so what are we doing? And he's like, well, he wants to go to a party at a friend's house, but she's not down with that at all. She
Yeah,
hates
that's
his-
great
she
first date material.
she
Let's
hates
go
all-
to a freaking
she-
kegger.
She hates all his friends. He explains, and this is where you're getting to. They jumped from looking at each other in the library, they jumped to this. He tells her, look, I like you, and I know you like me, and if we're going to make this work, they've never been on a date yet. If we're going to make this work against all odds, we've got to start compromising and breaking through barriers.
That's what I'm saying. There's
There's
several conversations missing.
Yes, there is. There's several dates missing.
That's Doc style on the first date. We're going to make this work.
We're going to make this work.
If you're moving in with me tomorrow,
I'm going
I
to need you to
literally
take that
just
blouse
met you.
off.
Our location wedding in Honolulu next week isn't going to work unless we can somehow.
well, he says, you know what? We got to rise above the bullshit of high school politics if we're going to make this work. And she's just, she's in love. That's schoolgirl love, puppy love.
Now she turned into Ducky.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
She's ignoring the things she doesn't want to see.
correct.
He just totally shit all over her clothes she made herself. But he's talking about a future, and she wants to hear that.
Exactly.
Good point, Yags. Well, he says instead they can hang out. If you don't want to hang out with my friends, we could always hang out with your friends and crawl under some rocks.
I was like, come on.
If you pay attention, she doesn't hear that. And he kind of gives a little cocky, like, She is looking at his BMW, his sports car that
That's
they're
what
getting
I'm
into.
saying.
She doesn't even hear that little slam against
Yeah.
her friends. She's like, oh, I'm getting into a BMW
Yeah,
for the first
see,
time.
she's put Blaine on a pedestal now. Yeah.
What a cross-eyed dick face, though. Who says that?
That was a hard move, man.
Well,
Ducky wouldn't have said that.
granted, she should be okay with his parents being wealthy and all that, but this dude has no couth. He's a complete social Neanderthal at this point. But anyway, so she's obsessed with the sports car. You know what it reminded me of? My old friend in high school. I think you knew him. Steve Sanders had a convertible Corvette.
That's 90210. Steve Sanders was a character played by Ian Ziering on 90210. Are your eyes crossed? You've been doing that impression so much, I think you don't know what. I think you're looking at the tip of your nose.
Dude, his mom was Samantha Sanders. She started on the Hartley House. She was an
Yes, on
actress.
90210.
That's yeah. Summer of Love.
Summer of Love. You know, the one cool thing about Blaine being cross-eyed, whenever he's having sex, he thinks he's having a threesome.
That one was actually funny.
Well, they show up at this terrible high school party where the jocks are giving chicks drunken piggyback rides. There's 6-packs of Budweiser everywhere.
Sound kind of fun to me.
Look like
It actually sounded a lot like your old house parties in high school.
Well, I'm not going to say that it was the
Although
same.
you were giving me piggyback rides.
Well, this is the exact same party that is occurring in 16 Candles.
I was about to say every 80s movie.
Well, no, but I mean, it's basically because, in 16 Candles, it was Jake Ryan at his house, the rich house.
Somebody's giant mansion, parents are out of town, and no one's calling the cops. God, the 80s.
Oh,
God damn it.
It is a typical 80s house party. The girls there immediately start making fun of Andy's pearl necklace. Oh, I'll give you another one, honey. Half price. Oh. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Dice is not at the party. He should have been.
It should have been, though. That would have been great. If he's just sitting on a keg smoking cigarettes.
All right. For the millennials out there, please YouTube Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh, I thought he was going to say, for the
all
millennials out there, Google pearl necklace. No, don't, not from work anyway.
It is a fantastic ZZ Top song.
She wore a pearl necklace. She wore a pearl necklace.
Is that what that song was about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Man,
No one liked my high-pitched rendition of it.
I was going to ask you to do a couple more lines.
That's all I know.
That's the only line.
They should have had Psychedelic Furs or OMD.
OMD
do a pearl necklace cover. Well, what did they say? It's a party, not a dinner, not a tea party, honey. Come on.
You notice how every actor, every extra in the scene that walks past is trained to kind of they're directed.
Oh no,
to
your direction is walk past Andy and
give her a look like
yeah.
who let in the riffraff?
Exactly.
Well, Blaine, because of that, senses that Andy might be uncomfortable
You think?
/ miserable. So he suggests, as he wiggles his eyebrows suggestively,
Considering his lack of peripheral vision, it's hard that he can see all that.
Are you happy or sad? When'd your twin sister get here? He senses that she's miserable, so he wiggles his eyebrows and suggests they go upstairs. To which she says, you know what? I'm not nearly to the point where I'm going to consider getting you off. But she's saying there is a point.
But it also...
Just haven't reached it yet.
Well, I'm coming to the... This is where I first come to the question. She knows about getting off, so has she done that before? And with who? Whore.
Now you know why Ducky's so obsessed.
Now you know why she gets into the club. Oh! I don't think she was doing dice.
Are you suggesting that maybe one late night at Trax, locking up the store, her and Annie Potts had a little experiment?
They were dancing pretty close.
Now that's a sequel I would gladly do.
That was pretty in the pink.
Hey, if they do a Kickstarter for that movie, I'm in. Well, he swears, I just want to go upstairs where it's quiet and eat pretzels and talk. He grabs a bag of pretzels.
No, actually, I kind of like
That was an old move of mine. Grab the pretzel
Just
bag.
eat pretzels.
Go up, put you in a pretzel.
A human pretzel.
We'll tie each other in the pretzels.
Oh! Well, she goes with him upstairs to a quiet bedroom where no one else is around.
Except...
Hold on. How times have changed. Any movie now where a chick who wasn't feeling it went with a teenager up to a bedroom away from everyone else in the party.
Right.
You're thinking date rape. You're thinking, my God, I hope times have changed. I think they have. Again, I watch a lot of Lifetime movies where this doesn't end well. You don't go up those stairs.
It
Why
was
are
timely
you
if
watching
the-
so many Lifetime movies?
Oh, they're great.
Meredith Baxter Burney.
Look,
It would have been timely if Blaine
they're
had
always on.
If Blaine had said, "You want to go upstairs? Don't worry, I don't have a scholarship to Baylor."
Yeah, that's true.
That's it. She's like, okay. He's like, I'm going to Texas Tech. She's like, I'm out. See ya. So when they barge in the master suite to talk and eat pretzels, guess who they find?
Good old Steph.
Good old Steph.
And that hair.
That feathered hair and nothing but a satin robe tied around the thing. He's drunk. He's got a glass of scotch. He's playing MTV back when they played music videos.
It's only the last serious party of my high school career.
We're just watching music on the MTV. All of a sudden, they're like, we can leave. He's like, no, take the room. Guess who comes out, putting her lingerie back on? Benny, the blonde bimbo that makes fun of her all the time. The mean girl. Her arch nemesis. Well, she's not able to greet Andy warmly at all like Steph. She demands that Steph kick them out of the party. When they won't leave, she calls Blaine a faggot, which I laughed at. You're nothing but a faggot, Blaine. He's like, and he's kind of like doing this little laugh, like, you're so much better than that. But he's not fighting it.
I looked at Jenny.
He can't even stand up to her.
I looked at Jenny and I was like,
you can't say that word. And Steph finally has to physically drag her out of the room to leave them alone. Doctor, in your experience, can this teenage house party get any worse?
I'm afraid, Mr. K, that it is far too early to tell. My God, the fun these kids are having, though. People are calling each other faggots and drinking, leading each other into bedrooms. My God, every just nerve ending in their genitalia must be on fire.
That's not opinion, that's science.
Yes.
That is actually science. Having one time been a teenager, I can concur with this conclusion.
I bring my science with me wherever I go, boys.
Doctor, in your medical opinion, without being there, what exactly went on at these pipeline parties that our boy Tut did in high school?
Well, pipeline is a euphemism for some things, Mr. Cade.
Sometimes there was some pipe laying.
And not by Exxon. Oh!
Oh, Miss Dice.
I got the piney woods in my pants. Oh!
Hey, you want to fill a tree?
I got a pine cone in my pants, honey. How about you be a squirrel? Oh! Do squirrels eat pine cones?
No.
I just made that up, didn't I? I have an acorn in your pants joke I've been saving for 52 episodes, but I'm not going to use it tonight.
There's a Dice joke in there somewhere in East Texas about Longview.
Oh! Give me a long view. Let me throw my pants and give you a long view.
Was Dice the first to utilize the oh?
I think he was, man.
I think he was the first. Oh!
At least in pop culture.
He's like, if I end every joke with that, maybe the audience will just, even if they weren't going to be like, oh, like they'll just, it'll
oh. Well, at least he gave it.
I'll give the audience their reaction for him.
Exactly. Even if the joke tanks,
the joke is over now.
Oh,
hey!
Smarter than he let on.
Well, it became such a staple of The Sopranos.
It really, it's so sad. I think
you're a dirty cocksucker, Sil.
Oh! I think Dice needs to get some residuals. Well, this is to again balance the stacks to show us that Andy's peers can be just as intense and judgmental as Blaine's. We follow the happy couple back to the Cats Music Club, Dice Man style, where Ducky now making everyone call him Phil. He's not Ducky anymore after what happened tonight. He's Phil. He's drowning his sorrows. I assume he's drunk.
Are playing on stage.
I assume he's drinking. We don't really see him, but he acts like he's been drinking.
Yes.
He's drowning his sorrows with the mature and sexy Iona. She kind of felt sorry for him, so she... I love this line when Andy's like, how did you get him in here past the dice
I told him he was my kid.
I said he was my son. I don't know why I thought that was hilarious.
I could just see it. Your son, huh?
Son of a gun. Oh!
Hey, for you, this one time, I will let you in.
Well, Phil's a real dick to everybody. He's
you
a
think
total...
maybe with Annie Potts, he was working on a Mercy Pop?
Well, we'll learn more about that later. He's a dick to Andy. He's a dick to Blaine. He's just a total annoying little prick. Till the situation finally boils over, and then we get my favorite interaction of the entire movie as Blaine and Andy storm to laid off. She looks at him and she looks at Ducky. I can't believe I actually felt bad for you earlier tonight, you retarded little dwarf. Or, I'm sorry, you retarded little dwarf, Phil. She calls him Phil. And then Blaine looks at him, yeah, you're an asshole. To which Ducky looks at him and he says, well, blow me, buttwad. Come on, man, that's good stuff.
Buttwad. It's good 80s
Again,
term.
in the 80s, you've had the terms faggot and retarded dwarf in like a 5-minute span.
And buttwad.
Buttwad.
I was really waiting for something like Dill Hole to come out.
You maxi zoom dweeby. What was that from?
I don't know.
It was an 80s movie where somebody called somebody a maxi zoom dweeby.
That was Judd Nelson in Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah. And Buttwad was a John Hughes staple because of Weird Science. Paxton. You're stewed, Buttwad.
That's right. Well, then Ducky/Phil grabs Iona and plants a giant kiss on her and looks up and yells at Andy, "You've been replaced." What a nut job. God. But Tut loves him.
Well, he was heartbroken. I'm giving him a pass on this.
He's a fucking asshole.
His heart was broken by somebody that never even considered his heart. That's different.
I'm just saying I've been there.
Let's bring the music up a little bit. I'm feeling like the dread of high school sorrow weighing very heavily on us at this point. There we go.
I'm just saying high school wasn't that fun.
Bring forth the boot of shame.
Put away the boot of remembrance. Bring on the boot of shame.
Why do they look the same? It's multi-purpose. They're just boots.
Just drink it. Just drink it. By the way, I got so drunk out here the other night, I wore that.
That's why it tasted so
I don't
weird.
suggest it.
That was it. That's why a little too much Cade foot in here.
Well, it was uneven.
Really
'cause
I didn't wear it on my foot. Oh!
Well, Andy breaks down in tears finally from the stress of it all. But mainly she's crying because she doesn't want Blaine to take her home and see where she lives. She's
I
ashamed.
want you to see where I live.
She's ashamed of her house. And you know what? We
bad.
We share stuff on the show. When I moved to Texas and was trying to make friends, I actually had this moment where I went and hung out with a kid from school. And
I said I was sorry.
Granted, much younger than high school. But I had them pick me up at a soccer field near my house because I said I was going to be playing out there. And his mom insisted on dropping me off after our playing time at my house. And for some reason, as a kid, I didn't want anyone to know I lived in an apartment because it had a very poor connotation.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I'm third grade here. Different. But
Well, like I said, I mean that. No,
I had his mom pull up to a house down the street, and I got out and went up to the front door
yeah.
and rang the door. She stayed there because I was third grade. She was going to wait and make sure I got in.
Well, I mean,
It was horrible. And I rang the doorbell, and my heart was beating through my, like, someone's going to answer this, and I'm going to have to be like, just pretend like I know I'm a weird kid. Just let me in. Like, but nobody answered. I was like, oh, there's a key around the garage. Like, I'll go in the back. Like, finally they left.
Wow.
But dude, this kind of brought back. I hadn't thought about that in years, but I remembered it.
Well, I mean, I do think. I think that they do
Comfort
kind
me,
of play up
therapy juice.
the hyperbole of the class stuff, but it was still very real in the 80s. I don't, like I said, I'd be curious to see, how real it is now. But no, it was pretty real back then.
Any girl who liked me, I would have gone out with. She could have dressed in paper mache clothes. Didn't give a
Actually,
shit.
I live in that dumpster, doctor. That's fine.
That's all right.
It's a good-looking dumpster.
You got a great ass.
Well, Blaine says, you know what? I could be locked in a Turkish prison with you, and I'd be just fine.
Yeah.
To which she's like, oh. And then they still haven't kissed, everything, but then all of a sudden he says those magic words. What if I asked you to prom? And she grabs his fucking face and just starts devouring it. It's a long kiss.
What a whore.
She what you wanted, the prom? That's all she wanted. She didn't want to go to the prom alone.
Yes, I'm sure it was romantic, but I'm sitting here going,
They're just
You
making
passed
out.
on Ducky for that.
They're making out in the middle
That's
of
how
the street.
That's what you were.
and
you shit all over one guy. You don't even realize.
That he would die for you.
Right.
Cody's a Ducky fan.
Oh, no, I'm not a Ducky fan. I'm just saying she, oblivious to the fact she doesn't understand why Ducky. Well, I don't know why you're acting like this. You don't? He just said, I'll die for you. I'll love you. And all this.
she doesn't pick it up. It doesn't click. Oh, it's just Ducky being Ducky. No, it's Ducky being an obsessive psycho.
I'll kill 17 people for you.
And then you.
So romantic.
I'll kill you.
I'll kill you. I love you so much, I'll kill you.
Oh, Ducky.
You say the craziest things.
Well,
Darkster.
she goes inside to her house and she tells Dad, "I'm in love with a Richie." That's what she calls the rich folks. And as she walks in on though, he's laying there on this weathered old couch with his weathered old balls hanging out of his bathrobe, which was realistic.
It was. The funny thing was is that when he makes this move and it was like a Sharon Stone Basic Instinct move.
Lifts his leg
and then he pushes his robe down to cover his balls. And I was like, Tut style.
Well,
I thought grape nuts were for breakfast.
give me the goo. Well, he tells her once his balls are concealed. Money differences and what friends think shouldn't matter in a relationship as long as you are both happy. He says all the right things, this guy.
It's pretty good considering his 14th beer by that point.
Yeah, I was going to say very good considering he's got to be schnockered at this point.
Well, he's lucid because he's all liquored up because he's an alky.
Yeah. No, we know those.
He's level right now.
Back to normal.
Dude. Midnight, you hit that bubble. You're nothing but wise. 12:15, total raging asshole. If she had walked in,
there is a window there.
If she had
There's a short window where you're capable of great things.
If she had walked in 15 minutes later,
I think you ought to go to bed now, honey, because my time's about up.
Real quick, I do.
Coach is about to turn back into a pumpkin.
We are all in the third or approaching the third of the cigar.
I'm getting down towards the end.
Oh man, has this? For me, the strength has really jacked up on this.
It
thing.
has.
Agreed. Very good cigar.
I didn't see that coming. This was not a cigar characterized by strength in any shape or form until this last third. The power of it really stepped up a notch.
Made this weak ass goat piss drinkable. Speaking of which, hand me another, please.
I will. Much better cigar than beer. But yeah, I didn't see that coming. All of a sudden, the cedar's back. Spice is maintaining.
You didn't see that coming because you were a little bit schnockered during the Saturday night talks with Robert. Mm-hmm. But no, he did talk about the strength picking up in the last third.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
As
Definitely.
an homage to his wife because she's a strong woman.
I'm not wanting to give up on this. This has still got good stuff.
Keep going, brother. He did say that it was tailored after his wife's personality. She could be step up and put him in his place at certain times. It's called the Rose of Sharon, but like he said, it's the entire flower of the rose. It's got thorns.
Yeah.
It's not just
so many things. It's like my wife's personality. It really gets just very intense and starts calling me names. And
hey, we always say there's nothing worse than a boring cigar. This is not.
This is not a boring
cigar.
cigar. This is not a boring cigar.
I was not ready for this power in the final third. I like it a lot.
For Connecticut, that I'm only mildly appreciative of. Yeah, it's doing a good job. I mean, it's keeping me interested the entire way through. I haven't gotten on the vanilla track yet. I'm still on that woodsy.
You had it for a while, right?
I picked it up. Yeah,
and it disappeared.
I picked it up
right before the strength really is when it went away. Now I'm strictly cedar. The coffee has gone from like a vanilla latte to more of just a straight up coffee kind of general, like a coffee note. The spice has tamed a little bit when the strength kicked up. That spice on the retrohale died down a little bit.
I'm still getting a pretty decent amount of it. It's like a mix of spice and pepper.
I love interesting cigars, and this thing's gone to some cool places. So I still got a while here, so we'll come back to it. But everybody's enjoying it.
Yeah.
Beer is fairly straightforward.
Yeah, it's a straightforward beer.
It's a straightforward beer, but I'll say as the strength kicked up, the pairing was better.
It didn't get pushed around by the piney.
Once the power in the cigar went up, the beer became a much better dancing partner, if you will.
By the way, not to jump off on a different tangent, but you had mentioned it earlier. According to IMDb, actresses that were considered for the role of Andy: Tatum O'Neal, Lori Loughlin, Diane
Full
Lane,
house.
Sarah Jessica Parker, and Brooke Shields. And Charlie Sheen auditioned for the role of Blaine.
He would have been a good. Oh, he would have been a good Steph.
He would have been a great Steph.
He would have made a better Blaine than what we got.
Spader's a great Steph. You're
Yeah,
not gonna get
Spader,
better
I don't
than-
think you can improve
than
on that.
I would have gladly taken Charlie Sheen as Blaine. Be interesting. As a young guy, if you will go back and watch my favorite Charlie Sheen, Boys Next Door, he did have an innocence to him. it's hard to imagine like Wild Man Charlie Sheen now.
Yeah,
His early stuff was very different.
Listen to this part.
Yeah.
When James Spader auditioned for Howard Dutch and John Hughes, he completely immersed himself in the jerky character of Steph. He smoked a cigarette in the room and crushed the cig on his way out. Hughes and Dutch almost didn't cast him until they realized just how much he embodied the role. After Spader got the part, John Cryer complimented Spader's prior works. Spader told Cryer, "I figure I got a lock on this teenage asshole thing."
Did. Well, the next morning we see Ducky, the ticking time bomb, circling angrily around Andy's house on his bicycle. He said he only rides his bike around girls he likes' house, and he said he would never ride his bike around her house again. But there he is, circling like a great white shark, ready to kill. Plotting the best way maybe to chop her head off is what I got. Seriously, listeners, you think this is a lighthearted 80s teenage romp? Rewatch it. He's a psycho.
He's just lovelorn.
It's not what you remember it to be. And while we're on the subject of Ducky, Andy goes to visit Iona, and she surprisingly says when Ducky kissed her at the bar the other night, it set her thighs up in flames. And she says one of my favorite lines in the movie, "He must practice on melons or something." That's funny. I think we all did that at some point.
Like the practice on your melons. Oh!
Well, I practiced on melons in another way.
Drilling a hole in them.
Beers? Anybody? Yeah, beers.
Yeah, please. Need one now. Don't just want one, need one.
Just picturing Ducky's house. There's this huge stack of discarded cantaloupes outside.
Man, they really love fruit.
My God, his vitamin C levels have to be astronomical. I just did a doctor.
You did. It was good.
I'm sorry. Doctor, would you say making out with an abundant amount of melons would just increase your immune system to superhuman levels?
Well, Mr. Cade, I would think that the vitamin C in your bloodstream would just be astronomical.
He's not getting shingles.
No, he doesn't need to go to the dentist.
Or scurvy. I guess scurvy's the...
Scurvy.
Annie Potts is so good in this movie. She's my favorite. She's the beacon. Every time she comes on screen, I wish she wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
I've always liked Annie Potts. Meanwhile, across the railroad tracks in Steph's mansion,
Solomon Grundy and Gorilla Grodd. Oh, wait.
Blaine and Steph and Solomon Grundy and Apache Chief are getting drilled. Or Blaine is getting drilled by his buddy Steph as Steph rolls joints behind his dad's desk. It's a huge library that only a rich person would have. Leather-bound books and priceless artwork.
Yes.
If you've got a hard-on for
Only
trash, Steph says, if you've got a hard-on for trash, Blaine, just don't take it out around us. We're sick of it. So just nail her and move on already. It's stupid and it's pointless. Pretty blunt. Ouch.
That's pretty mean, Steph.
To which Blaine says, "Is money all that matters to you, Steph?" He says, "This has nothing to do with money. Look at how I treat my parents' house. There's dead hookers everywhere. I'm smoking joints. I don't care about money."
I thought it was the typical asshole. I don't care about money. You don't have any. Your parents have it.
I thought it was great advice from Steph.
Well, he says, "I'm not worried about money. I'm worried about how Bill and Joyce, your parents, are going to react when you bring..."
And you got to do the Spader voice. "I've seen Joyce rip into you.
I've seen Joyce ring into you. When she's done with you, you're not going to know whether to shit or go sailing." I don't know what that means.
I like it though, because usually you never hear. You're not going to know whether to shit or go blind.
No,
That's
rich people go sailing.
You're never going to know whether to shit or go sailing.
Oh, you're just now busting out with a really good Spader voice?
I could have done this all evening. You never gave me a chance. It's really kind of uncool of you, man. I mean, I've been waiting to unleash my inner Spader. I don't know why you...
All right, let's just start from the beginning.
So, psychedelic furs, we... man, it's good to know. Yeah, shit or go sailing.
Loses place. It was like,
Yeah, that was really a good impression there, Doc. Well, Steph finally gets up. He's grown bored of this conversation, and he issues an ultimatum to Blaine.
No, I'm really growing bored with this conversation, Blaine.
Break it off with this piece of low-grade ass, or lose all your friends, including me. Easy as that. And go home and take a shower, because you look like shit.
Go home and take a shower. Well, you look like shit.
A best friend who tells you exactly how it is. That's got to be refreshing. Oh!
we always tell you like it is, but like Andy looking at the BMW, you never hear it.
Because I'm looking at beer. Cade, you have. Cade, you did some stuff last night. We got to address it. That night, Limp Dick Blaine treats Andy to a picnic out in his parents' massive horse stables.
Wasn't that was it a country club or was that?
His parents probably owned it. It's something rich people do.
Country club.
He's so torn.
In the 80s, everybody went to the country
Here's the
club.
thing. She's grabbing his face and kissing him all over. He's so torn about how his family and friends will perceive their relationship. By the end of the scene, she's kissing him. He's so paralyzed with fear. He's literally paralyzed. He's just sitting there in this barrel of hay. And she gives up. She just kind of rolls over next to him. His body's stiff. He can't even kiss her anymore. He's a twerp. He's the twerp.
Remind you of seeing this old horse farm, Tut?
Yeah, what would you say you did with horses?
Took him to pipeline parties.
I did things.
Oh, it's worth mentioning here, while all this stuff's going on, we keep cutting back to Ducky sitting on top of billboards, sitting in his bedroom like Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver, sharpening knives.
Well, yeah, but okay,
holding
here's-
the sides
this-
of his
this
head,
is- and
rocking.
this-
He's rocking himself to sleep. Like, he's a psychopath.
Well, no, but this is a great scene that actually.
Silent rage.
Well, Chuck Norris is fantastic, but.
Ducky is exhibiting a quiet, silent rage.
Well, yes, but this is a great scene. You see Ducky in his bedroom, and there's nothing in there. His bed doesn't have a frame.
There's a mattress on the floor.
He's got spray paint on his walls.
We know a similar character to Ducky in cinema. Michael Myers sat silently in a padded room for 15 years,
Henry, portrait of a serial killer.
waiting to kill his
But
sister.
my point is,
Just saying.
the way that she looks at Blaine is the way that Ducky looks at her. Ducky doesn't have anything. He's even worse off than she thinks she is. I mean, you look at her room compared to his room.
Yeah.
I mean, does she even know how Ducky lives? I mean, you see her dad, but where do you see? Do you see Ducky's parents? Maybe Ducky's an abused child.
If you were Ducky's parents, wouldn't you have cut that loose a long time ago?
Well, I'm just saying.
Team Ducky.
Yeah, I'd have.
But
I'm
my
with you,
point
Cade.
is,
he's Section 8. I'd have made bastard to basket of him
He
and pushed
is
him down the river.
fucking gone.
No, that she is his.
Bastard to basket.
To him, she's
he's you
to
know,
him. He's so low. To him, she's Barbie. She's
Correct.
living in a dream house.
correct.
He wants to be her Ken.
And so I'm not against Ducky. I'm just saying if you look at the way he wrote this movie and presented these things, you finally get to see Ducky, who he is, why he's obsessed with her.
Yeah.
He put her on that pedestal.
Well,
that's his angel.
Actually,
And literally,
all right, I'll give you some credit there. So
he can't talk to his own
Andy-
dad, but he can talk to her dad.
Andy looks at the BMW because that's the step up from where she's at.
correct.
So you're saying that Ducky looks at Andy
Ducky's looking at
because
working.
she's the step up from where he's at.
She has working
And that's
heating
what I'm
and
saying.
air
Ducky
conditioning.
doesn't see her. He sees her as a means of salvation.
Yeah, she has bacon and coffee in the morning. He doesn't have that.
That's right.
That's interesting.
It
That is
reminds
very
me-
interesting.
you know what it
And
reminds-
I have never thought about that before tonight.
It reminds me, my junior year of high school, I dated this girl named Emily Valentine.
God damn it! That's 90210 again. You never went out with Emily Valentine.
No, she seemed fine.
It's a fictional fucking character.
we went out to a dance club and she slipped me this Euphoria drug in my drink.
She did that to Brandon Walsh.
Next thing I know, we're making out on the top of my Mustang, and then yada yada yada.
You never had a Mustang.
2 days later, she set fire to the school float that me and my friends made for the parade.
That's goddamn junior year in 90210.
It just made me stop myself.
Are you happy?
Anyway, she's in a mental hospital somewhere now. I can
Maybe.
relate. I can relate. That's all I'm saying. We'll talk later on how you remember things.
I remember the TV show that you're referencing quite well.
We join Andy. This is a quick scene. I almost didn't even mention it, but I think it's just more proof of where they're trying to stress things. We join Andy at an upscale dress shop, kind of a Pretty Woman moment, pre-Pretty Woman, where she's looking at prom dresses, and a snooty saleswoman comes over to her and looks at her old lady thrift store clothes, and she's like, "Can I help you?" And she's like, "I'm just looking." She's like, "Well," and she didn't even bother like finishing the sentence. She just walks off. But then Andy sees Benny, the rich bitch, bitching about how none of these clothes are suitable and all that, and she's like, "I don't belong here." it's kind of a throwaway scene. I guess I needed it to reinforce we hadn't seen in a while how she's an outsider, so we need a visual kind of representation of it. Back home, though, Andy, we see calling Blaine over and over again on the phone, and he's not taking calls. His mom's taking message after message from her.
Sort of psycho-ish like Ducky in a way.
Oh. She's the Ducky. She's the Duckstress. Good call.
Do you think they were that?
Man, good call.
Do you think they were that?
What do you mean? Wait, what are you talking about?
Mincy, great diagnosis.
I've been saying this all evening.
Mincy, that was some great commentary that you've been doing all night,
wasn't it? Well, I'm just saying, Tuttle. I mean, if you want to go to the dress shop and...
I'm just saying, all right.
Hey, you did say that.
So they were...
You know what?
Were they?
I'm out.
Were they smart?
They're flip-flopping rolls right and left.
That's right.
So do you think Hughes was smart enough about this the entire way through?
I think after that track record I gave you of Hughes and what he's done,
it's got to be.
we got to give him the benefit of the doubt here. Well, we see him, as she's calling him, we see him in his bedroom, fully dressed, in his bed, paralyzed. He's still paralyzed with fear. He's laying there in his bed. He can't move.
He owns like one blue shirt and he wears it continuously.
But he's so afraid of societal pressures, he literally can't physically move anymore. His parents have to get him on a dolly and move him to the bathroom. He has no longer the use of his muscles anymore.
Like Hannibal Lecter style, they put a little faceplate over his mouth and wheel him in there.
Did y'all also notice Blaine is somehow even paler now? Like, whatever pigment he kind of had is drained from his body. He looks like a vampire.
I actually read on IMDb that they had to reshoot some stuff at the end, and that McCarthy had gone off to play another role and had actually lost some weight, which he didn't look like he weighs much to begin with, and it also cut his hair. And so for a couple of scenes, I don't know what they were, they mentioned prom being one of them, he's got a wig on and is more noticeably gaunt.
Oh, the wig is so apparent at the prom.
But also that he's lost weight. Maybe that was one of the scenes.
Okay. Well, Andy's dad, Jack, shows up at the house as she's sitting by the phone, and he's brought her a used pink prom dress that he picked up somewhere. That's weird. He doesn't say where. Or how he got it. He has no money. He's like, I know you can make something special out of this, honey. She thanks him. She's very sweet to him. And then she immediately calls him out for lying about getting the factory job, and also for not getting over Mom. She's been gone for 10 years, and you won't get out of it. You're a pathetic sack of shit. She went from thanks for the dress. Oh, wait. A woman flipping on a dime emotionally.
That's why I wanted to see him.
That's good screenwriting.
It's a fantasy, isn't it?
That's why I wanted to see him flip on a dime. Avenge me!
Well, they start screaming at each other. Did y'all think at one point when he grabbed her, he was going to slap the shit out of her?
I thought he might.
In pure 80s style.
I didn't remember this movie well enough. I was like, he's going to slap the shit out of her. He's a drunk. She's tearing his ass in. He's going to slap
But he does. You see it. He grabs her.
And it's in his eyes. But he doesn't do it. And actually, the opposite happens. He crumbles.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're right. You're absolutely right.
The child is the parent.
They start crying on the bed. Since when does my daughter know more than me?
Oh.
And they start lamenting about love together.
Crying on the bed is Sunday morning. Oh!
Lamenting about love, but more importantly, lamenting about the lack of love from the ones you want it from the most. She says I always knew Mom didn't love you. I could see her trying so hard to love you, but she never did. It hurt her so much that she couldn't love you. She hated you. And he's just like, I know. No, literally, Dad, she never even was fond of you. I can't believe she even talked to you. All right, I get it, Andy.
You're less than a human being, Dad. You're terrible. Okay,
you're the reason I drink.
I can't believe I exist, Dad, because the fact she had sex with you is so crazy. Andy, I get it.
I need another drink.
I'm going to go get the dog to get me another 12 of Budweiser. But you know what? He finally gives up. He's like, you're right. I'm an unlovable drunk dad. You're right.
Rufus, go down the corner
It's
store.
a real tender moment. It's a real tender moment.
Give me another pack of Merits.
So tender. Well, the next day at school, the soundtrack shifts. Did you notice this to a weird Suspiria, goblin horror score?
That's actually, I did. It's very weird. It almost sounded like the background soundtrack from some scenes from Silver Bullet, and that's actually a New Order song.
Yeah. It's New Order all over the place in this.
I thought it was Goblin from horror movies.
It didn't sound. There's a bunch of New Order songs in it. You're right. This one doesn't sound like them. It sounded
like score, like a horror movie score.
But that's actually an instrumental track of theirs.
Good point. Well, she walks past a dead stare delivering Steph as she walks into school. And then she walks past an even deader stare Blaine.
Wearing the same outfit he went to sleep in the night before.
Well, she confronts him. She drills him on why he hasn't been returning her calls. But he's got no answers. He just kind of mumbles. And then he's like, can we just meet after school and talk? She's like, no. I want to know what's going on with prom. That's all she cares about is prom.
Once again, original supposition. Whore.
And when he tells her, you know what, I actually forgot I invited someone else months ago.
You watched the Comey hearing today. You're like, supposition.
Liar! You didn't invite someone else. You're a piece of shit. You're embarrassed about me.
Just say it.
Just say it.
I want to hear you say it.
Your rich ass is a pathetic joke. And the whole time she's talking to him, his eyes get more and more cross-eyed. Till at the end, when she leaves and storms off, he's like that. Remember in Airplane, the movie, that blob of jello that's flying the plane? It's like his clothes with the blob of jello in it.
They just turned into jello.
Steph's loving the whole thing. He goes into the stairwell to chain smoke.
So Blaine sulks off like a bitch.
My work is done.
He goes right past Steph, who says, I told you this would never work.
I told you this was never going to work. I don't know why you didn't see it before, Blaine. I mean, I've been telling you this from the get-go.
Well, dude, I didn't think it was possible. He slumps so much more. His shoulders his head sinks into his shoulders.
He's a turtle.
He looks like Ichabod Crane. He's headless. Oh, what a...
And Steph has got on the linen pantsuit with the black Florsheim loafers and no socks, rocking it.
Well, Ducky's been watching all this shit go down, and he's had enough. As soon as Steph starts to walk out, he screams and just runs and jumps on his back and starts pummeling
Silent
Steph.
rage no more.
Steph gets the upper hand for a minute, slams him into a locker, but Ducky, he's wiry. He keeps going. He gets him down the ground, and finally some teachers have to tear him apart.
Can't beat rage.
I love how the teachers tear him apart. The first thing Steph does is put a cigarette in his mouth. Real nice.
No, before he's already put out 14 Marlboros on the floor. Now he turns and spits blood out on the floor.
No, he spits it on the guidance counselor's boot.
Turns to the teacher. Nice, huh?
Now I got to go to the cleaners.
Steph is actually...
These
What
linen
it takes to get blood out of linen.
These linen pantsuits don't grow on walls.
Steph is now actually the executive director of the Family Research Council, a big GOP political... Well, Andy runs straight to Iona's
that would have been
house.
great if he testified today. I'm not saying he lied to me. I'm just saying that I don't really trust the president, okay? This conversation's really boring me, Senator McCain.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.
Andy runs to Iona's house, who's now dressed up like Paula Poundstone or some other 80s comedian for some reason. She's got the big shoulder blazer on and like the little man hair.
Yeah. I look like a
disappointing
housewife.
thing, though. She found a
She
rich
sold
guy,
out.
so she went
She
yuppie.
found a dentist and sold out.
A yuppie. She
Yeah.
found a yuppie.
Andy's like, oh, you're the dentist, among other things. She loves this guy, though.
Wait, the pet store owner.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're a pet store owner and other Iona
It was
laws.
I own the whole building.
Yeah. Well, Iona gives her this last piece of advice. Love is awful, honey. Which should have been the name of this movie. Or Love is Stupid. I would have gone for that. Love is Stupid, starring Molly Ringwald. Well, Andy tells her, I want that old prom dress of yours that you offered me earlier. I want it. I need
Oh,
it.
and by the way, that prom dress that you've been hoarding for like the last 40 years,
Yeah.
I'm about to rip the shit out of it.
Yeah, I'm going to cut it
Well,
to
she does
pieces.
ask, can I have it? She says yes.
She doesn't say she's going to cut it into a million pieces.
But she says, can I have it?
She does. Once you give it,
Hey, can I get that prom dress? Oh, I got this neck piece from it. Is that good?
I'm sorry, Tom, the pet store owner, really likes when I dress up in it.
you got it's all about how you word it. It's like with Cody. One day I was like, hey, we're going to do the thing with some microphones and talk about a movie. You want to sit in with us? 52 episodes later. I didn't agree to this. I never agreed to this. I keep wondering, how can I get out? Never getting out. Back home, Andy gets out her sketchbooks and designs a prom dress utilizing both the shitty dress her dad got her and the shitty dress that Iona just gave her. Downstairs, we watch as her dad, Jack, finally takes that one picture that both he and Andy have of her mother, black and white from the 50s.
It was like a black and yeah.
She hated him so much, she never even took a picture with him. I'm sorry, Jack, I don't want to be photographed with you. You're my wife. That's his first.
It's a wedding day.
It's a first sign, Jack.
Just take a solo shot.
She wouldn't allow wedding pictures. She hated him even from then. Well, he puts it in a drawer. He's changing, guys. He's changing. When Andy emerges down the stairs, Jack's blown away at the majestic pink sight in front of him. It's not that impressive of a dress.
No,
right?
it sucks.
I was
man.
expecting a lot more.
She looked like a tube of toothpaste.
According to IMDb, Ringwald hated it and was very uncomfortable in it.
It looked like a bubblegum flavored
horrible.
tube of toothpaste.
Yeah,
good-
it was
good call.
horrible.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
terrible.
she's like a fashion diva or a fashion like a
I believe it's a fashionista.
prodigy, and that's what she comes up with.
Well, he's amazed.
It literally looked like
But
they ripped the sheer part of that one dress and just kind of like sewed it onto the
I say
other.
Harry Dean Stanton was impressed. He had 2 cases of Budweiser at this point. You look great, darling. Beautiful. He'd be a fool not to be in love with you. Now I'm going to send the dog down to the store to get me some more smokes. We got to get a trained dog to do stuff for us.
There was one scene where Harry Dean Stanton is in like his little short robe cooking some breakfast with the cigarette hanging out of his mouth. I looked at my wife and I was like, I'm totally doing
That's
that.
called seasoning when that ash falls in the eggs. It's called Bill's Grill. Don't sue us, Bill Grill. Old Bill's Grill, the old days.
I like them poached myself. I don't see what the big deal is with the eggs and the cigarettes. I'm getting really kind of tired of this entire conversation.
Oh, by the way, we do cut to Steph getting ready for prom.
With a cigarette in his
Putting
mouth.
on his tux, and his dad's like, he's got this 18th century mirror that like can see the future, and he's got a cigarette hanging out, putting on his tux. But Andy tells her dad, I should say, I'm not sad. I'm hurt, but I'm not sad. And I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to walk in and walk right back out and let them know that they didn't beat me. I'm making an appearance just to let them know that they didn't beat me.
Which is a lie.
Because she gets there and she can't walk in. She's broken.
What a lie.
Well, cue up If You Leave by Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark.
OMD.
This is the song I think most associated with the movie. Even more.
won't waste another tear. 7 years gone under the bridge. I don't know any more of the lyrics.
I hope you like this song because they loop it for the last 10 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
If you watch the film, which I did the third time with subtitles, you see that 7 years under the bridge because they do the lyrics on the
Yeah.
subtitles. 10 times, 7 years. They literally looped this song 10 minutes.
Hughes must have been a big fan of the old OMD. I myself am actually.
Unreliable style.
They were in Weird Science as well at the party they have when they play the Enola Gay, I believe, or no, Tesla Girls. That was a song they play.
Yeah, you're right.
Before we're obviously at the prom now, OMD's playing. I want to get to the cigar before it's all gone by everybody. You're done?
I am.
You're done?
I'm done.
Wow.
Very much loved it.
I'm not done, which is weird.
I got the vanilla back here at the end.
I did too.
Vanilla mixed with that strength and spice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've had that before in a Connecticut.
Strength really picks up.
It
In
does.
That last
I'm
third.
I'm not as good as articulating the
brings
flavors
it in.
as you guys. Very excellent cigar all the way throughout.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
I agree.
I'm very curious to try it in a smaller ring gauge to see what that balance of flavors does. I mean, this is a big honking cigar.
I tell you what's weird is that I'm not a fan of 60 ring gauges. I just don't like them. But the box press makes it a lot more manageable for me.
Well, mine actually at this point doesn't look anything like a box press. Mine is kind of rounded out.
Yeah,
here.
that,
Yeah,
mine
yeah.
completely
I'm
is
looking
the
at
same.
y'all's kind of rounded out too.
Yeah.
But man, the vanilla mixed with cedar, but that full strength and the spice. Right now it's just vanilla latte and cream, and it kind of everything is there at this end point. Everything we talked about.
Yeah.
The woodsiness, the cream, the coffee.
I was going to say I've missed the coffee, I've missed the vanilla, but the cream, the cedar, the woodsiness, the spices, the pepper, still there.
We hear a
How
lot.
did you miss the vanilla? I mean, it was right there in front of you, Todd. I mean, for Christ's sake.
We hear a lot of manufacturers say this isn't your father's Connecticut. That's like their go-to line.
Yeah.
This is a different Connecticut. This one actually is. It's playing a lot more like a Habano wrap cigar or
Good note. Good note.
It's not playing by Connecticut rules. And
Yeah.
credit that to Robert for constructing a cigar that, like he said, personifies his significant other. She's got it all. And this thing, it's been all over the place.
Yeah.
I'd like to smoke another one of these against the Zlatno Sans, that other Connecticut that we really loved earlier in the year, because they both didn't play by Connecticut rules.
Right.
This could be the year of the Connecticut as far
I'd like to try it with a different beer. You mentioned Belgium Triple, which obviously is stronger, but I could see
Well, more flavors, more fruitiness, more
Right.
floral aspects.
the beer didn't take away from it at all for me. It just the beer itself didn't really do anything.
No, and
But
that's
I'm going to keep drinking.
that's what that was.
Beer?
What I was kind of like curious about, in the picking of some of this stuff. We were looking for a beer that would kind of shy away from the cigar. I want a beer that'll dance with the cigar. Something that'll not necessarily. No, that kind of changes the profile.
We've
of the cigar,
had
that kinda
those.
accents it.
Well, dude, our last episode, the Shaggy Maduro with the breakfast stout, they worked
Yeah.
so well together.
Yeah.
Granted, the manufacturer told us what beer to drink. He's like, "This is the pairing for you," and he was right.
Right.
I'm just happy that this beer didn't. I don't think in any way affected my interpretation of the cigar.
No,
A different
it
beer
was
could have
some-
enhanced,
yeah.
but this did not deter.
Agreed.
So yeah, thumbs up on. I give the beer a.
But it was an interesting note to make that in the first third of the cigar, where that strength wasn't present, where the beer was kind of like you could
The
taste
beer had
that bitterness,
pine
that
and
pininess.
bite.
That yeah,
Once the strength kicked in, they went much better together.
yeah.
So not a total failure, pairing wise, but man, I like the cigar. I like it a lot.
Very good. Agreed.
I was almost ready to not like it, but it was hyped up so much at
So
Cats
much, yeah.
Fest. It was the cigar everybody was talking about at Cats Fest. I was ready to, but yeah, it's different. It is different. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
And different in a good way.
Yes.
Unlike Blaine, who's different in bad ways. OMD, If You Leave, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. They're playing. We're off to the prom. So Andy gets close to the entrance.
We saw them in concert last year. That was a
Did
really
you?
good concert. Yes.
Was it in the dark?
Yes, actually it was.
Like the lights were all out, you couldn't see the band?
No. Those stage lights.
I would've
Beautiful
been si- I-
California setting. It was awesome.
that was one of the bands you saw out in California.
Yeah.
Outdoors.
Yeah. It was great. Howard Jones opened. OMD was the second
Howard
act.
Jones.
Fuck yeah.
No
man.
one is that no one is to blame?
I'm sorry. Johnson.
No, it's Howard Jones.
Howard Jones. No,
Howard
Howard
Johnson.
Johnson was a
I keep
hotel.
saying
in
Howard
Redmond.
Jones is where you slept that night. You cheap bastard.
No, Howard Jones was there.
Jenny, what do you say we go out for a romantic evening, get some music, and then afterwards we'll go rock the Casbah at the Howard Johnson.
I'm going to take you to Napa Valley to a beautiful outdoor arena to hear Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. And then we're going right back to the Hojo.
I didn't even know.
That's Tut style.
No, we heard Hojo. And
very
OMD was
Wasn't
there.
Howard Jones
very
No One Is to
uncool.
Blame?
Yeah,
It's very-
no
yes.
one's to blame.
It's very uncool of you, Tut. I don't know why you take a lady to a Howard Johnson.
Was there a third band?
Yeah, Bare Naked Ladies closed.
It's a weird.
It was
Well, that's a
actually
weird
kind of
combo.
weird,
Yeah.
but they did a good show.
Were
It
they
was
na-
it
were
was
they
a really
naked?
good show.
Was there any Bare Naked
Thankfully, they
Ladies?
weren't. But they're one of the guys looks exactly like Ryan.
That's Cody's brother for our listeners.
Exactly.
All right.
I sent Ryan a picture and I was like, dude,
I
look
remember
at
that you
this.
sent it on a group text. So Andy gets close to the entrance, but she hesitates. Fear sets in. As ballsy as she thought she would be, she looks up at the people milling around the entrance. She can't do it. She can't walk in there. And then the duck man appears at the top of the stairs.
Looking suave,
the guy who
man.
basically threatened to kill her and told her she's a piece of shit and he could never respect her again. He shows up, and all of a sudden, everything's forgotten.
With
That's
a new
'cause-
tint to his Coke bottle glasses.
All the
He looks
hurtful,
good, man.
all the hurtful things he said make that hateful things he said to her forgotten,
Because he's there.
and everything she did to him forgotten.
He's there for her.
No, I see it as we have 5 minutes left in this movie. We're changing that.
But
No.
Kids, teenagers don't forget shit that quick. You say somebody
But this
something
is-
that hurtful to somebody and had that kind of extreme meltdown.
But she's got no one. She's got no
Maybe so.
one.
Maybe she's going to cling to any life preserver she's got, and it's the Duck Man.
He's there.
What would have been funny is instead of he showed up at the top of the stairs, it was the Dice Man. Oh!
Going to prom, huh?
Let's rock this prom out, baby. Oh!
Are your panties pink? Oh! You want them to be? Oh, give it a go! That would have been great. Old Mother Hubbard. No, Dice, come on. So you know what? All is forgiven.
She said, "Give me 9 inches and hit and make me hurt." So I fucked her 3 times and hit her with a brick. Oh!
Oh!
That's even better than that. She said, "Give me 10 inches and make it hurt." So I gave it to her 5 times and punched her in the mouth. Oh!
We don't endorse that kind of behavior on the Tuesday Night Cigar Club podcast.
Actually, I think it's really uncool of you to even say that. I don't know why you even bring that up, for Christ's sake.
Hey, speaking of Steph, he's in there. So they grab hands, hand in hand, and they walk into the prom. Poof, it's all better. How about that? 3 minutes left in the movie.
Just like real life.
Well, when they walk in, hand in hand, Andy and Ducky, Blaine's eyes go even more crossed than he turns into a cyclops. They
move together and form one eye.
They morph into one eye. He's now a mythological creature. Wait, a horn grow out of his thing.
Grows horse legs. He becomes a minotaur.
Just gallops out of there. Oh wait, that would mean he would have to exhibit some form of energy. I'm not going to see that on this movie. And then his spineless, gelatinous form kind of oozes over to them finally. Oh no! First he goes to Steph to confront him.
He's busy pouring his flask into his water glass.
You buy everything, Steph. But you couldn't buy her, though, could you? No, you couldn't buy her. And Steph's like, dude, do you need to go to a hospital? Like,
Are you looking at me?
who are you talking to?
Are you
Why
look-
are you
it looks
looking
like
at
you're
me
looking
this
over
way?
my shoulder.
Why are you looking at
That's
me
what's
like this,
killing you,
boy?
isn't it, Steph? She thought you were a piece of shit.
Look at me.
And deep down inside, you know she's right. To Spader's credit, he plays that. Did you guys not, when they cut to Spader, you got the impression like he does know he's a piece of shit? I believe when he says that, you know deep down you're a piece of shit. I thought Spader played it like
I've been called on it.
it's so subtle, but you're like, yeah, I am a piece of shit. I got that. He
What
sold
can I
it.
say? You're right. I guess I am a piece of shit.
He's speechless for once. He'd never been speechless in the movie before that. Well, the Blob, formerly known as Blaine, then slides over to Andy.
Hold on, there is one great Spader line that you barely hear in the background when Benny says something like,
Oh, no,
I want
no.
to do this. He goes, I don't give a shit what you want.
That's what it was. He's like, let's just go up to the hotel room and do our thing. She's like, no, we should stay. We're never going to see. He's like, I don't give a shit what you do. It is a throwaway line, but I caught it too. I don't give a shit
I
what
don't
you
give
do.
a shit what you want.
And you can tell by Benny, she's going to be about 40 pounds heavier that freshman year. She was one of those.
Did you ever think, like, where are they
She
now?
thought her and Steph were going to be like
do you,
this.
do you think, like, where are they now? I felt like Steph was one of those evil preppies that he just kept landing on his feet. Or did he die of a cocaine overdose in college?
Daddy bailed him out.
I'm seeing him just continually landing on his feet.
I would love
Well, Dad's-
I would love a reunion film. Ducky's
pretty-
locked
no.
locked up for killing Andy.
I barely had interest in this film. I don't need to see a reunion film.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
Well, at the very least, it would have been interesting to know what Hughes thought about, like, if he had ever thought, like, where these characters
Are they going to end
end
up together? Yeah, correct. Well, let me finish,
I will-
let me finish this
Where
out.
are they 30 years
hold
later?
Hold on to that
Yeah,
thought.
let me finish this. The Blob, formerly known as Blaine, oozes over there. He shakes respectfully Ducky's hand.
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense. And then he turns to talk about not making sense. He turns to Andy and he tells her he loves her always.
I've always loved you.
Am I wrong? They've had 2 dates at this point.
Yes.
But they stared longingly at each other.
one-
That counts for something.
One
right?
date was in a horse stall. They had 2 dates. I love you always.
This is why I said there's conversations that we were not privy to that
You said
amount to something.
Andy.
That moment after the computer, they obviously talked. What did they say?
Andy, you said you couldn't be with someone that didn't believe in you. I believed in you, but I didn't believe in me.
Blaine, you should really go to an optometrist and get that shit looked at, for Christ's sake.
I'm your friend, man.
He's saving half price on contacts.
God damn it.
Well, he tells her that, and then
Just get a monocle. It'll be cheaper, for Christ's sake.
he tells her that, and then he oozes out the door of the the ballroom like a snail. First of all, dude, he left her high and dry for the prom. Didn't return her calls. Totally pussied out. Had no backbone.
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope.
To which Ducky then is like, you know what? I like this guy. He is different than the other. He is different than everyone. You're right, Andy. If you don't go and get him, I'm never taking you to the prom again. And she's like, I gotta go get him. So she runs out, chases after Blaine.
Thank God I'm graduating in 2 weeks. This high school's terrible.
They start making out in the parking lot while Ducky somehow is still there, and he gets come on to by Christy fucking Swanson.
Yeah!
That is Buffy.
Yes.
I told my wife, I was like, that's Buffy. And
So
she was like,
she
known
no,
as the Duckette
that's
in the
too,
cast.
That's too early for her.
So she runs out in the parking lot and makes out with the guy who treated her like shit the entire movie. Ducky gets Christy Swanson. Seems legit. The end. No, Bren, everything ends badly, otherwise it wouldn't end.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, wait, no. Everything doesn't end badly. Everything in the last 5 minutes went completely against logic. Oh, you treated me like shit and you had no spine. All right, I love you. Ducky, I hate this guy because he treats you like shit. You know what? I respect the way he treated you like shit. You go be with him.
the whole ending was
No one my whole high school career has liked me. All of a sudden, Christy fucking Swanson wants to nail me.
Looking just absolutely delicious.
This last 2 minutes of this film make no fucking sense other than we got to wrap this up and make everybody happy.
Well, I was just waiting for like Christy Swanson to like bring up that glass of Coke, like yeah, like I'll take it.
the whole ending was a rewrite.
By the way, it's the end.
Yep.
It's the end of the film. Well, let me just talk about that. The original ending, the test audience saw, Andy chose Ducky at the end. And it was set to a totally different OMD song called Goddess of Love, which I guess they looped that for 10 minutes straight. Apparently, movie audiences were also retarded dwarves, and they clearly didn't want to be with... Because if they did, they'd be like, she shouldn't be with any of these retards. Him or... She should just go off to college and leave all this behind.
She should have recognized that Ducky was there.
Hughes
for her.
wanted it to end with Ducky and her together.
Yeah.
Well, he did. Audiences didn't like it. They liked me. My animal magnetism was undeniable. I don't get the ending. I don't get the reshot ending or the original ending. I don't get any of
The
it.
bitch of it is I gotta be in a movie with this guy again called Less Than Zero in another 6 weeks. It's really harsh in my buzz.
Well, here, get this.
And he's gonna do something called Mannequin, for Christ's fucking sake.
Hughes did try to right the ship. Their next collaboration with the director, Dooch, that next year, he directed Hughes' script, Some Kind of Wonderful. That script actually plays out like this did. Eric Stoltz plays the Ringwald character, red hair and all. And Mary Stuart Masterson plays Ducky, the outcast. Leah Thompson is the Andrew McCarthy role, the popular girl. And Stoltz actually picks the outcast. So he got the ending he wanted just in the next film.
Yeah.
With Craig Sheffer as Hardy
With
Jins.
Craig Sheffer as the Steffish character, I
Kinda.
guess.
He's wearing the suits.
Yeah, he wore
It was a sweet blue.
He's 27 years old and he's wearing that blue suit.
I say that like... Leah Thompson, you have the Andrew McCarthy role, which I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Do I have to do the cross? No. We're not doing that much. I can only cross them on... No.
No, that wasn't a choice, Leah. That wasn't a choice. Be you.
She sits down with Andrew like, how did you do it? Smelling... I did smelling salts.
Are you looking at me?
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Well, you know, but I put it to the ending they gave. It, you know, Ducky took her off the pedestal. And like, look, if you're not going to be happy with me, be happy with someone you want to be with. Which...
What happened to make him realize that? Because...
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's so many
Blaine
things.
only got more asshole-ish as the movie went on.
It was the handshake.
The handshake.
But he said, you know what? He's like, if I'm not going to be in love with her, I'm going to be there for my friend. But the problem is, it's very like
You can never be friends with someone that you loved.
Should have ended realistically. Andy blowing Blaine in the bathroom at the prom.
And Dice.
No, Steph.
And Dice.
What can I say, Blaine? It's called a pipeline party. We have these all the time in Lufkin. Surprised you didn't know about it.
Nice.
but
that would have been better.
It is the simplistic conflict resolution.
It betrayed any kind of authenticity they tried to work.
But the point is he had an authentic ending, and what unfortunately the majority of people rejected it.
Oh wait, the general American populace made the wrong choice?
Yeah.
Unheard of.
That never happens.
That never happens.
It would have been better Dice Man style if Swanson looks over at him longingly and then Dice shows up and he puts his arm around Swanson. Oh, keep dreaming, Duck! Oh! Call me Dice Man the Vampire Layer!
Oh!
Bada bing, bada boom!
I got some garlic around my balls! Oh! My memory of this film was very different of my revisit to this film.
Oh gosh, me too.
Well, that's because you're seeing the movie through the prism of, 25 years, 30 years?
35?
Correct.
30.
30.
And this is why I did end up, in contrast, I did like Some Kind of Wonderful better.
Me, I always
because
did.
it felt more natural
Correct.
at the end.
Correct. And it was way less stereotypical. Stoltz was saving for college. He had the dad relationship really worked in
He
that.
didn't make his own clothes.
And it was the same.
I never saw his dad's balls.
Stoltz had Thompson's character on that pedestal the whole movie.
There's just something about a dad giving his daughter relationship advice with his balls, his old hairy balls hanging out of his robe.
Harry Ball Stanton.
HBS. Gotta love him.
I tried to shoot everything I did with my balls hanging up.
Peter North is pointing Peter South. Oh!
It worked. I agree. Some Kind of Wonderful was a superior film.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, Harry, tuck that goddamn hacky sack away, will you? It's making me sick.
Oh no.
Doctor's making house calls, folks. Yes, sir.
Oh, let me wipe the tears from my eyes.
Well, we're not going to do Some Kind of Wonderful on the show. I think we've covered this little slice of cinemas as best as we. If we do another Hughes film, it'll be Great Outdoors because that's my favorite. That's my favorite Hughes film.
Recently rewatched it. Just to
yeah.
talk about the passage of time. Two things real quick. One, after revisiting it, and it was one of the Hughes films that I really hadn't seen that much. I wasn't as familiar with it as others.
Great Outdoors?
No, Pretty Pink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Great Outdoors. I know that like the back of my hand.
Sure. With the front of your hand.
The front of your hand. Oh! I wish you could quit jerking off, Doc. It's really parching my buzz. I'm not a fan of Pretty in Pink.
I'm not either.
I watched it.
I'll never watch it again.
Love Spader. Spader's great in it.
What's wrong with you? What are you doing over there?
Oh no, my eyes just suddenly sting.
Look at him. He's a mess.
Honestly, everything else about it I didn't care for.
No, I didn't either.
Would point out something that you had made a poignant remark, Mr. Cade. About a year ago, I forget what we were talking about, but we were talking about teen movies. And it's interesting how, as you get older, I was talking about looking at it through the prism of the years past. Yeah. And somehow you see them differently as you're older as you did back then. But I don't know, I can still watch Can't Buy Me Love. But you had made a point, I forget what we were talking about, and it was just that at the age that we've reached, teen movies are really hard to relate to now. And I watched a newer one in the last several months that have been in the theater in the last year. It's called Edge of 17, that one with Haley Steinfeld from True Grit.
Which got rave reviews.
And it wasn't that the film itself was not unenjoyable, it was. I just found myself relating more to her, single mom, trying to get the kids off to school and go to work. And you see it in the trailer, she's friends with her teacher, Woody Harrelson. And I just related more to the 40-ish something adult characters. It's almost like you start realizing how silly the problems of... I mean, we've known each other since we were kids, but you start looking back at that stuff and you're like, a lot of these things are fairly silly now.
But that's just the advance of age, though, because, you know, when you're at that age and you're living in through those silly moments, that's still the world's biggest problem, though.
It is, I guess. It resonates less.
I said
it does, but at the same time, like when I watch these movies that, you know, we watched as teenagers, I still get transported back to then.
I don't, not anymore. I watched one, I think we talked about this on the show when we did Can't Buy Me Love. I watched one a year or two back, a real popular one. It was about a girl who's the ugly friend, that the cute girl's
the Duff?
The Duff.
Yeah.
The decent movie.
But I watched it, and for the first time watching a high school movie as a grown man, I could not relate to
No, I'm not saying
the high school experience.
No, I'm not saying like...
I was like, I don't need to watch these movies anymore.
No, I'm not saying that I look at new, like modern teenage movies and it transports me back. No, not at all. I watched the old teenage movies, you know, the 80s movies that played when we were teenagers, and that transports me back.
I think it has to do with
because it's like the 80s, you know, you got the clothes, the music, all that.
I think a lot has to be said for the quality of the film. If it's Can't Buy Me Love, I recently watched 16 Candles not that long ago. You know, even a newer one, but it's 7 or 8 years old now. So we've been a little younger when we first saw it, was Easy A with Emma Stone. I like that one.
I think that was probably right when I could.
That was kind of the last one.
The last one where I could still kind of get into it.
And that was probably because that came out around 2009 or so. And I think I read where that had been on the blacklist, which they always say is a script that circulates for years that people like.
Everybody loves it. Nobody will make it.
It's probably written by somebody from the 90s, so there maybe that was part of it. But it probably has more to do with the quality of the film. But I can definitely see your point, and just like it's not. We're not the target audience for that anymore.
Yeah.
No, and when I look at those movies now, I can still do the Me and Yaks films. I can do the Porky's. I can do
right.
I did like which played a lot on Pretty in Pink, the Not Another Teen movie, the spoof.
Yes.
Of which Molly Ringwald made an appearance.
That was worth seeing Pretty in Pink again because I was not as familiar with Pretty in Pink, Not Another Teen movie. To me, there's a lot of movies that they spoof, where there's really two main ones, and it's Pretty in Pink and She's All That,
which was kind of the updated version of Pretty in Pink.
Yeah, it's really those two movies.
If I would have had time, I would have watched
with Randy Quaid as the drunken
band, yeah.
So you better get a ride home today.
That was Randy Quaid.
Shit.
Oh no, he was in Not Another Teen movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's all you.
I was thinking that was her dad, and She's All That. I'm like,
I'm not gonna be able to pick you kids up from school today, so I'm. Okay. Well, that's good, Dad. We don't want you driving when you're drinking. Oh, I'll be driving. I'll just be too drunk to pick you kids up.
I always love a good spoof. Obviously, we do a lot of spoofs.
Remember the talk he has with her? They ape the Stanton and Ringwald talk, and afterwards go, "Good talk, pumpkin tits."
Hey, Harry Sweaty Balls Stanton never went there. What'd you call him?
Harry Ball Stanton?
Harry Ball Stanton. That's his name now. I'm glad we did this. Hopefully this will welcome some female viewers into our show that never found us before.
After we just shit on a movie that they probably would like.
Well,
we didn't really shit on it.
Didn't shit on it.
No.
That cost extra. Oh!
No, Pretty in Pink's one of those things that, like I said, the moment it's over, I kind of forget that I saw it.
I really do want to watch Not Another Teen movie again now.
I do too.
That's Chris Evans' best movie.
Oh, it's great in it.
Captain America, give me a break.
So what happened with John Hughes?
He died.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah, he's dead.
Okay.
At a relatively young age. I
Yeah,
think it was still in his
50s. He did go from here. He kind of got into the sequel business. Home Alone sequels.
Yeah.
Like I said, he did those kid Beethoven dog movies.
Oh God.
He kind of was more on the family-friendly sequel business up until in '91. He did Career Opportunities, another kind of teen movie, which was decent. But no, that run is...
He's always going to be known for those 80s.
It's kind of like the NFL quarterback who has a great 6-7 years, and then they start going to other teams, and then they
Right.
get to a backup role. It's kind of that same trajectory, and then you just never hear about him again.
Well, I just thought it would be kind of interesting that he had such an interesting look at the teenage years of our teenage years. I would have loved to have seen what he thought of taking those characters and doing the 40-year-olds.
Well, that's
type
the thing.
stuff.
You've got a guy like Richard Linklater that has the Beyond Sunset movies where every
Right.
10 years he revisits the same couple at different points in their lives.
Yeah.
I know you guys said you weren't interested, but I would love to see I'd be more interested in a Pretty in Pink and seeing Steph as
Where are they 30 years from
Where's
now?
Steph when Dad's money is his dad sunk all his money into Enron,
Right,
And
yeah,
he's broke,
yeah.
and Blaine, is obviously gay well, they all say Ducky was gay. That's a big conspiracy theory that Ducky's. Oh yeah, a lot of people think Ducky was gay.
That's just because a lot of people think John Cryer's gay.
Well, he's a neat kind of. He always plays those kind of well organized,
Got a pretty
tidy.
hot wife, I think.
I'm not saying he's gay. I just hear that conversation a lot.
I would have been curious too, but he did. I think it was a heart attack. He passed away in his 50s.
Hughes, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm glad we did it. I think we did justice, as we always do. And it was fun. So, good work, boys. Good work. Beer.
Well, I just would say it was more mediocre than good, but that's all right.
I've grown,
You guys are A-okay.
I've grown bored of this conversation.
Really grown bored of this podcast, Kate.
Take a shower. You look like shit.
Look
we all
like
look like
shit.
shit at
Take a
this point.
shower. You look like shit.
That's going to be my new sign-off.
I don't give a shit what you like.
Beer. Man, I'm not going to go out of my way to find it again. I'll drink it if somebody hands it to me.
Bingo.
On the flip side, 3 hours.
Man,
This thing has
That's a good investment.
produced. We never talked price point. Any guesses?
I'm going to exclude myself because I talked with the man.
I'm gonna go.
3 hours for a fucking.
I'm gonna go 10.
Okay.
I try to figure out what I would pay for it, and then what it probably is.
No, you always bring in what you.
It's usually lower than
are
what I
happy paying
think.
for
I
it.
was going to say 10 myself. I would gladly pay $10 for the cigar.
$10.50.
Yeah.
10.50.
Right around $10, and
That's-
man, I would pay that. In a heartbeat.
I would absolutely pay that for that cigar.
3 hours, and I've experienced coffee, cream, cedar, vanilla, latte, coffee bean, spice, strength, mild, and the thing, like he said, man, it portrays all the aspects of a woman.
Yeah,
He actually came through.
Yeah, we talked with him a little bit on price point and how he priced his cigars, due to manufacturing, some other stuff that I won't get into. I thought it was very smart the way he did it, and I appreciated his candidness, regarding the price point of his cigars.
Everything's math.
Man, he's an interesting cat. If you get the chance to talk to him, definitely, hit him up. Hit him and Sharon both up.
And go to YouTube and watch our video. They can tell you a lot more about the cigar, but I'm giving it the TNCC thumbs up.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
Tut, give us some links.
All right, hit us up on Instagram, TNCC_podcast. Hit us up on Twitter, @TNCCcast. Join us on Facebook, Tuesday Night Cigar Club. Also, hit us up on YouTube. Hey, thank you for everybody that's subscribing to YouTube.
Yeah, we got a lot of new
subscriptions
YouTube
are popping
and
up.
it shows our episodes are getting drastically more YouTube views. People are watching it more
Fantastic.
week to week. You can always listen to it on iTunes. Speaking of iTunes, if you're there, give us a rating. Just click the 5 stars, 4 stars. If you're a dick, less than that.
It's not like we're asking you to do a whole hell of a lot, are
I'm not
we?
asking for a kidney here, folks. I can't do that voice.
Hey, you know what was
Leave it
cool?
to the
We got like
I can do a Dylan voice. Brandon, it's not like I'm asking for a kidney.
You know what was cool? We got mentioned like in the top 10 cigar things that we need
Yes,
to follow.
check our website. There
That's
was
pretty cool.
There was a list that came out today or late last night.
Yes.
The top 10 cigar websites you need to be watching, and we got a good mention there. We are still in FeedSpot's top 20 cigar websites ever. So that's cool. We're going to have a short film eventually for you to see. I'm sorry it turned out so good that we want to watch it on the big screen, but it turned out really good.
It's
It turned out awesome, man.
And but for the remainder of the year, I think I can safely say we will be here back home at the Corn No Hope doing what we do best. And I think we did it good tonight, boys. Man, the boot took some time, but they were worthy subjects. We had to do it.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
we definitely they're two actors that we have loved and have influenced
Yeah.
the way we see film.
Yes, absolutely. So you got to do it. You got to pay tribute, and we did. So thank you for joining us. What did I say my new sign-off was going to be? Oh. Now go off and take a shower because you guys look like shit. Sayonara, you fucking twerps.
I don't know why you gotta be so rude, Kate. I mean, it's really unbecoming of you.
Oh, that's right. I forgot the Dice Man was in this movie. Little Boy Blue. He needed the money. Classic. Just classic. Hey, maybe I could get in on the whole nursery rhyme thing. There once was a dirty man whore from Nantucket whose dong was so long he could... you know what? Your old pal Keith is better than this. If I'm gonna make it as a stand-up comedian, I'm gonna work clean. Like my heroes, Jerry Seinfeld and Phyllis Diller. Or as I like to call her, Phyllis Drill Her. Oh, you fucking snapperheads. And in the meantime, to learn more about the cigars and libations enjoyed on tonight's episode, you can visit www.southerndrawcigars.com and www.victorybeer.com. For more on O'Brien's Irish Pub, the live music leader in Central Texas, please visit o'brienstemple.com and download their free smartphone app, where you'll find full beer listings including over 40 on tap, menu information, and a calendar of upcoming live events. To listen and purchase music heard on tonight's program, check out www.fritzbeermusic.com. Thank you for listening to the Tuesday Night Cigar Club podcast. This is Keith A. Howell saying until next time, friends, unless we see you sooner at the pub. So keep it smoky, and for God's sake, keep it ballsy as well.
Work, get strong.